Woo, it stinks in here. Whee!
First thing in the morning. And you're standing up so it can waft throughout the room.
You guys catch a whiff of that?
Yeah, Jackie's fainting now.
Jesus.
No, I'll get you back.
Finger cuts are melting.
I watched him oil his fingers for the finger cuts.
Oh, he oils now.
But what is it you put on your fingers before you put on those rubber things?
A little lotion.
Is it?
Just a little lotion.
What's the name of that lotion, in case people want to do it at home?
Prescription lotion.
Prescription lotion? What is it?
Don't go into my bag, Fred.
What?
It was on the outside, Jack. Ultravate.
Ultravate.
It's like a 0.5%.
Fred, let me get this straight. If we find something on the outside of your bag, we can...
So that's all right.
You're fine.
Okay. Jackie, keep an eye
There's
peeled.
specific bag rules.
Keep track of the rules.
Ultravate? What is Ultravate, Fred?
Got me.
Read the side of it. What does it say? I never heard of that.
It's got the big label all over it, so I can't read it.
Jackie's finger medicine.
Can you believe what's going on with his hands?
Yep, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of rituals developing around his hands.
Because afterwards, what he usually does is he rolls off the finger cuts,
Right.
goes to the bathroom,
Yeah.
Is that okay with you?
and then he comes out and puts on Cornhuskers lotion.
Oh, I missed out on that. I haven't been watching him directly after.
Yeah.
Where does he apply the Cornhuskers?
In the Jack Lounge, what is considered the Jack Lounge, because he keeps the Cornhuskers lotion in his mailbox.
Really? How do your fingers feel now that you've been doing all this?
Just trying to keep my hands soft so they don't rot away.
No, I'm just saying, how do they feel now that you're doing this routine?
Excellent.
Seriously, there's no burning or itching sensation?
No. It's fine.
So you recommend to people this ointment and finger
Should
cuts?
you have fingers that dry up, I would recommend the little bit of ointment and the finger cots and the Cornhuskers to soften them up.
You know, people don't notice his finger cuts right away when they walk in.
Right.
Finger cuts are prophylactics that you roll down over your fingers. And Dee walked in the other day. Dee Snyder, formerly of Twisted Sister, now with Widowmaker, walks in and I said, Dee, don't mind Jackie's finger cuts. He looked at him. I think he almost,
He did a double take like you would.
And Dee's a frightening looking guy.
Yeah, I was going to say, my God.
All right, but
If I was walking down the street with finger cots
you
on,
shocked him. You shocked him. And your look, I said, well, it's the new look.
You know, Dee thought he was wild.
Yeah, and all of a sudden Dee looked normal. And I said,
No,
because Jackie looks like a robot, like Robbie the Robot with those big finger cuts on. All right, good for you, Jackie.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead. We had enough time with you.
Goodbye.
Jackie's getting real sensitive lately.
About
He doesn't
what?
like to be talked about. He used to like to be talked about.
You really sense that?
Yeah, oh yeah, he can't handle it. He hates Fred now. Because Fred always does it. When Fred does the Jackie impression, it drives him nuts.
Oh.
He kicks things.
We were sitting there doing a bit, and I yelled enough one time in 3
Oh, no.
months.
It really annoys you when he does it now. You used to, like, sort of be complimented that we paid attention
Right.
to you.
I'm very thrilled to be paying attention to.
No, I don't know.
I just disclosed my entire finger
Oh,
situation.
boy, that was pretty wild.
Ooh, that's
Indeed.
very...
Went out on a limb. You went on a comedic limb.
Not too many people have disclosed things about their fingers before.
Boy, that's pretty wild.
I bet People Magazine is on the phone.
Any more disclosures? you can carry the show today.
Robin, you want to do 10 minutes on your medical history?
I bet you're going to make the cover of People with your finger cuts.
Is that possible?
All right. Yeah.
Don't talk about
Don't talk about me.
Don't talk about my finger cuts.
Well, it's been 10 minutes on your medical history. Mr. Norris.
Hey, don't go. I'm going in your bag.
I'm going to your bag, Norris.
It just drives you crazy that I'm the most normal person in this bunch.
Oh.
Oh, Fred, then it's definitely you, Fred.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely you.
Mr. Normal.
90 people go to see his play. He disappears out of thin air.
You mean he didn't even stay
Can
there
talk
like...
to you later?
Into thin air.
You know, what is with you, Fred? Seriously, what is your problem?
What,
You won't socialize. You never know what you're still awkward. You still have that...
That's a lie.
You still have your country...
I came out and I saw everybody. However, there was another play about to start, and I'm not about to take away from the other actors.
Oh.
Mr. Martling.
So when that play was over, everybody was there except for who?
I went home and went to sleep, is what I did.
He made special arrangements, you see, to be
Right.
the first up so that he could leave afterwards.
And could be
I
rested.
would sit at the bar and drink
To-
Heinekens till 4 in the morning
Right.
and go, up, it's time to go to work.
I guess you're right.
You're
Fred has not come in once and said his alarm clock or his wake-up call.
My wake-up call didn't happen.
There you go.
There.
I don't know. It's time. You'd think they'd get it right by now.
What's with that hotel? You gotta stop going back to that hotel.
Yeah, when'd you get another hotel?
Always the same hotel.
You know, this is the best argument we have. Who's weirder than who? Who do you think the weirdest guy in the show is? I say Fred.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Let me think about it for a second.
Wouldn't you think that you would go out for a cup of coffee with the 15
No.
people that came to see you in your play?
No.
Well, not you, because you're...
I wouldn't. Actually, I agree with Fred
I
on
agree
this
with
one.
Fred
That's
wholeheartedly
because
on
you're
this one.
all as nutty as each other.
No, we all devote ourselves to this job.
Oh.
It's a weekday, and we know we got to be up at 4 in the morning.
I said hi to everybody. and then that was it. You know, everybody was going up and doing their play.
Jackie's like, come on, we're all together, let's go out.
It was just like when I went to see his wife's play.
Right.
She thought I was angry at her because I left immediately after to go home and go to bed.
The performance was so bad, you actually ran out of there.
I didn't want to say anything to her because it was awful. No, I have to get up in the morning.
All right, who do you think's the weirdest guy in the show?
Oh, dude, this is a
Gary?
tough one. No, it's not Gary.
Wait till Gary tells you his Richard Simmons story. It's pretty funny.
Really?
Yeah, we got a good one today, but I got to, let me take some phone calls.
You know what? I would have to say it's Fred after thinking about it for a few minutes.
You just offended him for 10 minutes.
But you're weird. You're not normal.
I'll tell you,
he likes to pass himself off as normal.
All right, people with, who have real strangeness, I'm going to tell you, in my estimation, you're gonna don't get upset.
I won't get upset.
Fred is strangest.
Yeah.
Robin is second.
I knew it.
Jackie is third, and
Where are you?
I'm least strange.
Oh,
I'm the most normal.
yeah.
Least strange. I'm the most normal out of all of you.
Either you're right on a par with me or right behind me.
You are.
There's my wife, how I yelled at her last night for 25 minutes.
What was she doing, breathing?
No. She accepted a phone call from one of her friends.
Oh, except
Yeah, you're right. You're way down there.
But I really think I'm more normal than all you guys.
No, you're not.
I really do. I know I'm more normal than Robin.
You know what scares
No,
me?
I don't think so. Because, when I think about you are pretty weird.
Don't get defensive.
I'm
You're the
not
weirdest on the show.
No,
You're the one who
my
like
friend's the
explodes at
weirdest.
people and stuff. And
She watches
What?
TV.
you have a weird temperament and all that kind of
Excuse me,
stuff.
what did I say to you yesterday?
What? You behaved yourself once. You
I
caught
want
yourself
credit.
once.
I want credit.
You have a strange temperament. That's the only thing strange about you. Otherwise, you'd be normal.
The only thing weird about her is the
I would really be almost in awe of you if you could just cool down on your
I
temperament.
did.
No.
Oh, come on, Howard. You got to say it's a major accomplishment.
But you're really suffering. There's a woman waiting to burst out of there. I mean, you're in real pain.
Stop
There's a
it.
person in there somewhere.
Because he really is quite an impressive individual inside of Robin. I mean, I'm very impressed with you. You know that. I don't think I have to tell you that. But the small quirks, which who knows what they are.
I have little quirks. That's right.
The little quirks all add up into one
big quirk.
one mess. But so I would go with Fred as a strange, only because. But both of you are products of your upbringing. Fred was brought up by country bumpkins.
True.
And had a very strange childhood.
Yes.
True.
Robin, I don't know what exactly happened.
I was born in the Addams family.
Yeah, Robin was in the Addams family.
like Marilyn in the Munsters.
I actually find Jackie almost as normal as I am.
Oh, stop it.
Oh, please.
Now, Howard, I have
about a
got
left-handed
to...
compliment.
First of all...
But he's grown a little.
Excuse me?
Yeah, he was very strange when he first started here.
You can't compare yourself to Jackie. You do not go out of your house.
No, I don't mean that. I don't mean...
What? What are we talking about?
I mean that first is Fred, you're second, Jackie's
I'm
third.
just going to list some of the strange things about you.
But by the way, Delabate is more normal than Jackie,
Oh, definitely.
in my mind.
Definitely. Gary's normal.
Baba Booey is the guy that I could most... Well, no, I'd probably like to hang around more with Jackie.
Right.
Baba Booey. But Delabate...
Gary is a normal guy.
Yeah, except he talks too much. Yeah.
He likes to talk.
Yeah,
Okay.
sometimes he describes things. I'm a little
In
busy.
depth. Yeah, he starts going through those movies
But Fred talks too
being
much,
there.
too.
when you get him started.
Oh, you'd love
But
it.
it's trying to get
That's
Fred
why
started.
I don't say anything.
Fred didn't learn how to socialize. But you see, Fred is an interesting guy. Fred is a fun guy, a knowledgeable
absolutely.
guy,
Absolutely.
but he doesn't know how to socialize properly.
Yeah. He's a little
That is
bit
his-
lacking in those skills.
But I know if he had grown up in a hipper situation,
He'd
would
be okay.
He would be unbelievable. He'd have no
I guess.
talent, but he'd be unbelievable.
I don't know, though. I
Right.
heard a story about Fred the other day.
Yeah, what'd you hear?
I don't even know if I'm sworn to secrecy on
No,
this.
I might have heard this one. Go ahead.
No, I don't think so.
Tell me, Robin.
Apparently, after you got on John's case last week...
About what?
About the order of the questions...
Yes.
Fred went out and worked on John for a good long time
Way too long.
about switching that order.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
Fred's right. You know, we spend a lot of time coming up with an order. We actually sit back there.
But it was the kind of things Fred said.
Yeah. What did he say?
He said things to John like, Gary comes in and says that you did a great interview. Who wrote those questions?
Right. Fred likes to torture the intern. But Robin tortures the interns, too. That's the problem I have.
Worse.
Fred doesn't
Not
torture
worse.
the interns like he used to.
Nah.
Because the old ones...
You could clearly be the most normal on the show, but you just have lapses. That's all. You have lapses.
I just want to point out
You cannot use
that
the
I
word
have
normal
grown.
with her.
I have grown.
I'm a defender of Robin often. You don't know how many times I have to defend you to the guys and to other people. I go, listen.
Other people.
She has. I say, look. This is the way I defend it. I go, look. She's working on it. They go, well, can't you talk to
What the hell
her?
do I do around here?
I don't know.
I'll tell you what, the rap on you around the
Work
office...
in progress.
But you are doing better. I got to admit, Because
Now, you know what used to happen when
Someone
I
asked
come
me
in
the
here
other
and
day,
the papers weren't here. You
Yeah.
know what used to happen.
someone asked me the other day, is Robin really improving? And I said,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think so. I don't
you
accept
give
it
me
yet.
no credit.
I don't
I hate
accept
you.
it yet. I think she's really making an effort, but we'll see.
I think she's improving because her and I haven't had a fist fight in 3 years.
Right.
Yeah, I've been wanting to kill her in about 2 years.
The rap about Robin around the office, though, just for the office workers, and I don't
Yeah.
mean our office, but I mean everyone,
Yeah.
is that they ask what's with Robin. Usually it's about her sexuality, and then it's about, like, why doesn't she show up to anything, or does she think she's too good to be around us?
Oh, jeez.
Well, I understand why she doesn't
Right,
show
I
up.
do too, and I explain
don't,
that.
because I do the same thing. I don't think that's weird. I think that's a devotion to the job. I was saying to my wife, I don't know how much longer I can do the radio show because this monk's existence that I have, I really live like a monk.
Absolutely.
Because I find that when I get home from work, the first thing I have to do is sit down and organize myself for the next day's show and for whatever other things I got going. I also have a private life that I have to, I've eliminated. I've eliminated the kids, I've eliminated the wife, I've eliminated, it's like I'm in this box and I sit there and I try to organize. I got the bills and all that stuff, even just the basics of living that I have to handle. Then I got phone calls coming in from everybody. Wanting to know what to do and all this kind of stuff. And by the time, that takes a couple of hours of your day. And then you gotta go to bed. You eat your dinner and you go to bed. You gotta watch the news, you gotta know what's going on.
Yeah, you don't get to talk to anybody on the phone or anything.
So I don't find it particularly enjoyable. Do you find the job enjoyable? I find
the
the floor
job
out.
here
Yeah.
is enjoyable.
Yeah.
But what it does to the rest of your life is not enjoyable.
Yeah, we gotta figure out how to eliminate this part of, just do this part, eliminate everything else.
Get everything else out of the way.
Aren't there some great perks that come with it as well? I know what you're saying about the bad part.
What
but
would
What
the perks
perks
be?
would we have?
You're the one who gets the perks. You went to a movie screening last night. I don't
we
get
don't
any
go
perks.
anywhere.
I really don't go anywhere.
But
so
when
what
you
perks?
want to go somewhere, Robin, here's a perfect example. If Robin wants to go somewhere,
Yeah.
I
and
could,
she
sure.
she can go anywhere she wants. Like, say, if Robin wanted to go see McCartney tomorrow night,
Yeah.
because the station has like 5 tickets just for staff. And
Yeah.
if Robin wanted to bring a friend, she could walk in front of everybody and go.
But why do I find that not... You see, I've never been a kind of guy who goes to a McCartney concert.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm just saying, if Robin, in the few instances that Robin does go out and she wants to, she usually gets served very quickly.
So explain the benefit to me.
Well, certainly you could. I mean,
I can't find one.
You get to stand on the side
only
of the stage
benefit-
at the Elton John concert.
Yeah, great. The only benefit I get, that I find, would be getting a lot of different kind of women. And I can't even get that. My wife won't let me do that. If I could be having sex with all these various women that come
Yeah,
up
the
here...
one perk of the job you can't
Oh, you never hear a complaint out of me. I would be willing to weigh both of those things.
But honestly, now, you do get things quickly. If you need something
Yes.
and your name is in it, things, if you
Like
call
what, though? Fax paper?
Well, no. But if you, well, just stuff in general. If I call somebody...
What do I
and
need?
say,
Name one thing I needed quickly.
A chair.
A chair. Exactly. You needed a chair.
I needed a chair because my back is bad from the stupid
It's
job.
not why you needed it, it's how
got
fast
it.
you got it. And it's the fact
But
that...
I don't...
It's the fact that a guy from New Jersey
Yeah.
would put it in his car, drag it all the way here, bring it up here, and show it to you because it's Howard Stern.
Yeah, but how many times a year do you take advantage of that?
There are
I never
thousands
do
of
because
people.
in my private life I never give my address and stuff to these people or tell them I live there, so I have to put up with all the
But
regular
you get
nonsense.
free dental care.
Well, yeah, once in a while I get a free cleaning from the very good Dr.
There are-
Kaufman out in Great Neck. But
There are millions of people that would like to be you because you can get a chair.
right, that's like an exciting.
No, that's the one thing he takes advantage of, but he can get a lot of stuff.
But the negatives outweigh the positives.
I agree.
You can't walk down the street. I decided the other day to walk down the street in Manhattan and go window shopping.
Oh, forget it.
All right, I said, you know what? I'm paranoid. People are not going to bother me. They're not going to make a big deal because I always used to read that if you walk around Manhattan, people are oblivious to a celebrity.
You are not seen, Howard.
So I'm walking down the street, 3 seconds into it. By the way, there was nothing negative about it.
No.
I'm doing a personal appearance on the street, and I was pretty well covered up. I had the hood on and everything.
Well, that's another thing, so you got to make special arrangements.
Yeah, and you feel like a real
Cover
dick
yourself
walking
up.
around in a stupid outfit.
Yeah.
You know what your problem is? If I could say, John Lennon said he loved the city because he could just walk around and be anonymous.
Yeah.
You're 6'5", what really? There's no
Right.
way for you to be anonymous.
I know
I
that.
don't know if
Your
that's
silhouette is obvious.
I'm Big Bird. I'm walking
I
around.
decided to do the same thing in the Diamond District a couple of weeks ago. I hadn't been around that area for a while. And I said, just let me walk down 47th Street. And I'm standing there gazing in the window and daydreaming. The next thing I know, the people inside are waving at me.
Yeah.
And then, a crowd starts to gather around me, and I had to run down the street.
Now, mind you, I'm not complaining because that means the show's successful.
Right.
And that's what I want. I mean, if we're doing this, it might as well be successful. I mean, nothing's worse than being a Jay Thomas showing up and doing this stupid
And
job.
nobody cares.
And nobody cares that you're doing it.
Like when you were in Washington, wouldn't you have dreamed of being able to walk down the streets in New York City and
Yes.
everybody know who you are?
Absolutely. It killed me.
And tell the truth, you don't like to go where you're not known.
That's true. When I was working in Washington, D.C., I used to come to New York every once in a while to visit my parents. And I remember one time I was up at WYNY.
Mm-hmm.
Al Bernstein was working there. Al Bernstein is a disc jockey, a good disc jockey. You know, he's got a perfect voice, gets a lot of voiceover work, he's very professional. And we were pretty big stars in Washington. I mean, we were really setting the world on fire down there. I mean, we were up to an 8 share, and we were, like, really kicking ass, and we were really, you know, we were young, and we were happening. And I come to New York, and this guy, Al, starts to tell me about Imus and how funny he is. And I'm sitting here going, you know, as happening as I think I am, as soon as I leave Washington, I'm nobody.
It dies.
I suck. And it kills me that in the place that I grew up, nobody knows that I'm on the radio. Killed me. It destroyed me.
Mm-hmm.
And all I dreamed about was going on, PLJ had contacted me, and they said they wanted me to do a show, and then it turned out they wanted me at night, and I just wanted to kick Imus's ass. That's all I wanted. Because they knew he wasn't funny. I just knew it. I mean, I'd listen to him, and I know there's nothing happening there. I mean, there might be critics of mine who say I'm not funny, but I know that guy's not funny. There's nobody there saying that guy's funny. And if they are, they're lying. There's just nothing funny happening there. So it used to drive me, especially what he was doing when I came to town. He was playing 9 records an hour.
He was sleeping on the air.
He was sleeping practically on the air, just going, hey, how you doing? You know, all that stuff. You know, now he's trying to make a comeback, but it's not happening for him. It's over. He's making a comeback trying to be me, and you can't try to be me when I'm here. You know, you can try to be me when I leave, but you can't when I'm here. I'm going to break it a second, Fred. So it used to really drive me crazy when this guy Al Bernstein said to me, hey, man, boy, you know who's funny is Imus, man. And I was like, oh, he's wild. I go, oh, man, you're killing me. You're killing me. And then when PLJ called me, what disappointment. They wanted to put me on at night because they wanted to just get rid of me in Washington. They would have buried me, and then that would have been the end of it. Wouldn't have had a career. You know, do a show by myself, and every 3 minutes I get to talk.
Right.
I mean, 3 minutes an hour I get to talk.
Oh, boy.
That was the big proposal from Larry Berger. He really understood me. And then when we finally came to New York, it was on that idiot station, and we were on in the afternoon, and it drove me crazy. But finally we got on in the morning, and we kicked his ass. You know? I don't know. So, I mean, I'm really glad.
But I know right now, if you go to a state where you're not known,
it drives
you
me
go
crazy. Yeah, it's a bummer.
Even the old days when we went to Los Angeles.
Well, because I might as well be known. I don't leave anywhere. I don't go out anywhere anyway. When we went to L.A. this time, do I ever leave my room?
No, I was surprised you made it to the hotel bar.
This time than I've seen you in a long time. Actually crashing that party.
Well, because all the guys and you were there, so then I felt like comfortable, so I came down to the bar.
Yeah, but you were...
What fun is it? I don't
you
drink.
went up to that bar mitzvah?
Yeah, well, I did that for the show. You never would see me do that.
I was shocked.
We heard there was a bar mitzvah upstairs, and Paula Abdul and Rod Stewart were there. So I just figured I'd be a big shot, go up there and go, hey, how you doing, Paula Abdul? Which I did, and she blew me off. Yeah, but so we had a little story to tell. But then we sat around in the bar.
Yeah, we had fun.
That was fun, but yeah, I don't drink, and really, there was so many good-looking girls walking in and out of there. I wanted to have sex with them.
But
now, that would have been.
You were doing exactly as much as you could do. You were looking at them and undressing them with your eyes.
Yeah, but you know that only plays so long.
We were laughing and having a riot.
No, we had a good time, but you were drinking, Jackie. You were having real fun.
Jackie was going to get us killed.
Yeah, yeah. Jackie was. Let me tell you something. We're in a bar in Los Angeles, okay?
Come on, that was.
So we decide. So I finally come out and I go, okay. So I run into Jackie, and Robin had just came in on the plane, and I had worked the whole day because I had done my E-Entertainment show.
No.
By the way, you got to watch my show this Friday night. My interview with Joan Rivers is really weird.
Yeah?
Yeah, you got to watch it.
Okay.
Don't miss it. It's good. And we get into a whole bunch of stuff. But if you get the stupid channel.
I get it.
I understand.
I'll tape it for everyone.
If you're in Chicago and you're in this, if you live in the city, that they're almost willing to add the E channel to your television thing, but you have to call them.
They need requests.
Yeah. I forget the name of the cable company. TBC or something like that. TCB, taking care of business. Something like that.
Elvis's cable.
Yeah, I heard about this. But we're sitting in the bar, and we're having a good time. All of a sudden, like, this really geeky dude walks in. Right? Wasn't this the case?
Yeah.
He was looking strange.
He had a weird colored outfit on.
So Jackie's sitting there. Jackie didn't even remember this because he blacks out. And you started goofing on the guy. I thought the guy was going to come over and kill you.
The guy had like a bright aqua blue.
Yeah, but imagine you're that guy. I mean, there's like 9 drunken idiots sitting there yelling and screaming, and we're goofing on him walking through the bar.
He didn't hear a word we said.
Oh, please, Jackie,
you don't
he
even
was screaming.
Jackie, you don't even know the sound of your own voice. You know what it was? It was a really funny joke, and there was no way you were going to let it fall on deaf ears.
No way.
People in the back of the bar heard it.
Yeah. I mean, I got to admit, it was funny, and I was cracking up.
Yeah.
But I just said, I know I'm going to be the one who gets my ass kicked, because I'll be the recognizable one.
The guy had been parading.
Paul Winchell over there is going to put words in my mouth.
It was like parading back and forth, and finally it was like...
What did you say about the guy? I forget. What did he say, Robin?
I don't remember the exact line, but it was...
Robin and I looked at each other and went, uh-oh.
Yeah, let's get out of here. It's
man.
going to be a bar
You roared
fight.
first.
Well, we roared, and then we went, uh-oh.
I said, well, uh-oh.
Yeah. Okay, it was funny. I admit it. I'm not saying you weren't funny. It's just that this imbecile's expense.
Well, he was just picking everybody apart who walked through the door.
A parrot. I don't know what it was, but it was appropriate.
It was a great line.
Yeah. Nobody's arguing if the line was good.
Just inappropriate.
That's all. Oh, jeez, I'm gassy. Sorry about that.
But, you know, the whole argument here started with who was weirder.
Yeah. Well, I told you.
You have tons of quirks, Howard.
Name one.
Oh.
Name one.
What, because I don't leave the house?
No. All right,
like
you want me to name something that just happens right around here?
Okay, go ahead.
Do you know what it's like to talk to Howard Gary? You must know this really well.
Yeah, go ahead.
And you know, you're just in the middle of a story, and all of a sudden you look over at Howard,
And
you
space
know
out.
it's time to change the subject because he's in another world.
I know. Well, I zone. You got to be quick about it.
I could take that one step farther for the both of you.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be telling Howard a story, and he'll be listening, and then Robin will think of a better story, and I'll go and take a breath, and Robin will go, did you see this in the Inquirer?
So why is that weird?
And then I'm gone.
No, because I know Gary will never finish. But the point is, you don't communicate. You have these
Right. I don't do it on purpose.
obnoxious
No, I don't do it on purpose.
You're very
things
quick.
that you
I'm
do.
thinking.
But you even with, like,
Give me the information. Give me the
You
information.
Right.
take a left turn and go to something completely different.
But get through the information.
You
I'm on a fast track. I don't have time to sit there and listen to long stories. Gary, you got to learn to capsulize.
Your patience is down to nothing, and now
That's it.
with us,
That's it.
that with strangers, I've sometimes seen you brush it aside quickly.
That's not a quirk. That's called a stern curse. Everyone in my family
Oh,
is
so
like
you
that.
give it a name. It's not a quirk.
Everyone in my family is like
Oh,
that.
you're so outrageous.
Because people don't know how to get out information fast.
It's not a point.
It's not my problem.
All you have to do is say, you know, I just don't have time right now, and go to something else.
No.
You look over, you see this man who's about to die. His eyes are rolling back in
You
his
got to
head.
get to a quick story.
Gary spends half of his time trying to get your attention.
I know.
And then he gets it, so if anybody else...
No, but then he gets it, and then he let's face it, he has nothing to say anyway.
That's just not true.
It is true. Today alone, when you got my attention this morning,
Right.
you told me the same thing twice.
What was that?
We got to get that Steve Dahl record.
But here's a perfect example. You
Yeah.
immediately took that,
Howard?
you put it on your counter.
I put it right
and,
there.
And then you put all those papers on top of it.
Right.
Baba Booey. So which means you were never going to see it for the rest
That
of the
is
show.
not true. I had
That
a
is
filing system.
That's absolutely true. You will never
Now
see
you're a
that.
liar.
All right, second quirk.
What?
How disorganized are you?
All right, I'm disorganized.
Can't
Who
remember
isn't?
anything.
Is that a quirk?
Oh, please, Howard. You're sitting right there. You put a piece of paper right in front of you. You're going to use it in the next 10 seconds. And in that 10 seconds,
that
you
weird?
will pile 5 pieces of paper on top
But that's
of
not
it.
weird.
I don't
That's
see that as a quirk. I see that
Oh,
just as
that
being
is-
disorganized. You have quirks that are much worse
Please,
than
I
that.
have a lot
once
going
you
on.
realize you have a problem, you fix it. Howard
juggling
will
a lot
never
of-
be able to fix this.
I'm juggling a lot of ideas.
Please. He stuffs... Oh, sleeping in your clothes?
That's weird.
Oh.
Why? I got an early morning job.
Oh, please, Howard.
Okay, that's a little weird. Okay, I'll give you that one. I said that's one quirk you came up
One.
with.
I call that 5.
And I wouldn't do that if I didn't have to get up early.
Yeah, right.
I get
He
to-
doesn't even bathe on the weekend.
I will say,
So what? What's wrong with that? Does everybody bathe here on the
Of
weekends?
course.
yes.
What,
Well,
if you're
no,
just gonna
Sundays
be-
I don't bathe.
Sundays you hang out.
I do it twice a day.
I just skip Saturday bathing. That's all.
I will tell you one thing.
And if
that's-
I'm going out somewhere, I bathe. Just I'm staying home. What am I going to do? Smell good for my wife?
Can I just say one thing that's
She's
quirky?
not the picture of health on the weekends.
All I know is that you also pulled that little tissue out of your back pocket the other morning.
Well, that's something else. That's guy stuff.
Eating the same meal for lunch
Every day
for
for the
9
last
years.
how many
well,
years?
9 I know you. So
Yeah.
I don't know how many you were eating
You
before.
think that's weird?
That's odd.
No, that's not
That
odd.
is very odd.
That's a sign of inner strength.
No, it isn't. That is odd.
No, it isn't.
It is
I have
odd.
never
It
met
is
a
odd.
person in my life
strong-willed.
besides you that does that.
That's strong will.
Howard, that is obsessive.
That's will.
Is what, no, it has nothing to do with will.
That is
That
willpower.
a sickness.
You don't have willpower.
It's a sickness.
So
Even
I
if
can
it's
eat
will.
something different. What can I eat that doesn't have any fat?
But Robin,
Baked potato and turkey.
Robin rotates
Robin
his-
eats.
chicken?
Robin's now eating oily stuff.
I'm not eating oily stuff.
Oh, yes, you are. I've seen what you've eaten.
What did I eat?
What do you got today for lunch?
I have a piece of grilled chicken
Yeah.
and a salad.
Grilled chicken that looks like it has some kind of sauce on it.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't?
No.
Well, all right. So you got me there. What's
You
on
can
the
have
salad?
Shrimp? Nothing.
Well, that's
Sometimes
weird.
I put a lemon on
Now
it.
that's weird.
Now that's weird.
Now that's weird. I'm sorry.
She's
What,
been using some kind of salad dressing. I said,
Lemon is what I squeeze on the salad every once in a while.
All Well, I don't think that's weird. I'm sorry.
It is weird.
And on the weekends, I eat something different.
Same thing every night, every morning. You're sick.
My father was the same way. Nothing wrong with
that's
it.
another thing.
He always had it.
He always had salmon. Your father.
That's wrong.
Sit down, shut up should be played every time you're yelling at Gary.
You're all nuts. All right, I still say I'm more normal than all of you. I say Fred's the weirdest, you're second weirdest, Jackie's
and you're third. Jackie
Gary
is
Delabate's
not ahead
fourth,
of you.
And I'm fifth. Stuttering John is weirder than Jackie.
Yes, he is.
No one beats the great taste of Snapple. Snapple beverages are 100% natural with no artificial colors. I'm the most normal on the show.
Never.
Only because you got the loudest mic.
Yeah. Well, then give me your order. Who do you think is the most normal on the show?
He obviously thinks he's the most
Do you
normal.
think you're the most normal?
Maybe Gary's more normal than me, only because I'm...
So you think the order is Gary,
No. The weirdest...
Just give me the order, Jackie.
Well, I'm trying to put it...
Don't rationalize. Just give me the order.
But in the order of how weird.
Right.
I'd say it's a tie between Fred and Robin.
Right.
You're next.
Yeah.
Thanks, Fred.
Fred and Robin. Boy, he's got you tied. That's a lot worse than I had you.
And then me and Gary are equally normal, but we have our quirks, and I think John is frighteningly... maybe more normal because he's just as younger.
You are the worst judge of character.
Yeah, you're horrible.
And you don't see yourself at all.
You know, I don't know why you asked him. This is the man who asked
it's
Javon
the
to come
same
to his
order
house.
that you made, only I put you ahead of me.
No. It's all off. And Stuttering John was in the wrong place. More normal than you and Gary? Come on.
Yeah.
No way.
Fred, what is your order? Seriously, I bet you I'm on top of... I bet you I'm the most normal guy Fred knows.
All right, go ahead,
Because Fred knows the real me. Fred's been around me. Go ahead, Fred.
Oh, I haven't.
No, Fred knows the real me, Robin. You obviously are somewhere on another planet.
After these commercials, can we discuss
All right. Snapple natural beverages are... See why he's normal? Snapple natural beverages are 100% natural with no artificial colors. You know, Fred, we're in the middle of a great conversation. You don't know how to socialize.
I know.
100% natural with no artificial colors, no preservatives, no artificial ingredients, and delicious. That's Snapple. Listen, hey, you can call me weird, but I've been drinking Snapple for 15 years. And there's nothing wrong with it. It is a great tasting natural is the key word, great tasting natural drink. Their iced teas, their sodas, their sports drinks, their juices and juice drinks. Other companies can copy the bottle or the can, but they can't copy what's inside.
I'm the most normal.
This Snapple, I'll ask you your list when we come back. Nothing weird about Snapple, that's for sure. Great to have a friendly get-together and bring out for your guests something a little different like Snapple. They go crazy for it.
On that, we can all agree.
Yes, Snapple natural beverages made from the best stuff on earth. That's from what Gary just told me. All right. Is this Caroline's? Robin actually in here lobbying during the commercials to win people's vote of normalcy. Caroline's is so great. It really is. You know why Caroline's is great? Because
she's normal.
Because she's a normal person. She doesn't have any weird quirks. Caroline's really cute.
You really think so?
Yep. Well, she's a lot cuter because she got $50 million. She's a very wealthy woman. She married well and then divorced well. And she has this comedy club. And let me tell you something. I think she sunk half the family fortune into it. It's a fantastic club. It's on Broadway.
Why is she so into comedy? That's what I always wonder. If somebody had blessed me and gave me $50 million on a divorce, I think I'd rest.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
But she's devoted to comedy.
She's got a hard-on for comedians. I'm telling you. She loves them. She really does. Boy, is she cute.
I've often wondered about that. Why hasn't one of those comedians just snapped her up?
$50 million. I know I'd snap. If I was single, she'd be my date. I'll tell you something. She's perfect. I tell you what, if she had a flat head, she'd be perfect. with that $50 million. But anyway, headlining this week over there is Dom Bada Boom Bada Bing Herrera, known for his unique mix of wise guy charm, keen observational humor, and off-the-wall characterizations. And Dom was honored with an Ace Award for his HBO One Night Stand special. I'm sure I'll be winning an Ace Award this year.
Well, you wwon't be nominated for this year, but next year.
Right.
The nominations have already been
Oh, is that right?
made, yeah.
Too bad. Coming soon to Caroline's, Gilbert Gottfried, John Mulrooney, Mario Cantone, Carol Leifer, and Kevin Pollak. New Year's Eve is just around the corner. Celebrate in the heart of Times Square at Caroline's. Caroline's has two great New Year's Eve packages to ring in 1993. Call 212-757-4100 for reservation at Caroline's Comedy Club on Broadway. That's 212-757-4100. It's a great place to see comedy. It really is. Thank you. Thank you, Caroline. I'm really almost done with this discussion, but Fred, just out of curiosity, and Robin, Fred, who do you think is the most normal on the show?
Gary.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
And then who's second?
Second would probably...
Robin raising her hand. Now, everyone's telling me stories about you. There's no way you could be the most
Wait a minute,
normal.
what
On the
story?
surface, Robin appears very normal.
I am surface.
But you scratch that surface, and it gets real weird real fast.
Yeah. Because even my sister has heard us talk on the air and says, what do you mean Robin's not normal?
Thank you.
And I go, well, you don't know. I mean, on the air, she's delightful. But you really are. You are really actually.
I am delightful.
You're about 90% there, I think.
Robin's a
You could be
genuine
real normal.
I am normal.
No.
No, I'm not. I wouldn't even deny it.
But it's nothing to be proud of.
I'm not proud. Who's working on themselves? Of all of us.
Yeah, you are.
The rest of you are sitting in it.
The rest of us have really changed very little. You've made major changes, but you had to make major changes.
Otherwise, I'd have been out of here.
That's right. You would have combusted.
And I fizzled out.
No, I was just going to say, Robin, like, here's a quirky thing. Weren't you friends with somebody once, and you were friends with them for a couple of years?
Can you clear your voice?
What's that?
Can you clear your
There
voice?
you go. There you go.
No, your
That's
voice
not
is...
a quirk. That's a health problem.
Not you. I'm talking about him. He gets crazy just because you have a health problem.
Excuse me, are people at home retching from the sound of his phlegm in his throat?
Robin had a friend.
Just clear your voice, please. All right, go ahead.
Robin had a friend.
No difference.
I'm saying this is how my voice is.
Right.
Robin had a friend that she was friends with for a couple of years, and this person smoked the whole time that she knew her.
Right.
And they went away one weekend, and then Robin decided that because that person smoked, she was
not
never going to be
true.
friends with them again.
Not true.
And has never spoken to them since.
Not true.
Is that really true?
No.
It's
not
so
true.
true.
It is not true, Gary.
Then what's
I don't
true?
know the story, and I believe it.
Right.
That person's never been able to get you on the phone ever again.
That person said something very strange to me.
See, you
and
never
that-
told me that.
Give me a
you
link.
told me that. You told me the reason
See
was.
there?
But why would you hold back that information?
Maybe it was
All the-
private information.
I was making up a story.
No,
She was
the
trying to
story she's
answer
ma-
her-
The story she's making up is that the woman said something.
No,
Trust me.
I'm
Really?
telling you the
She
truth. The
sat me
woman
down
said
one day and
something.
explained to me. She goes, you know, Gary, we were there, and the smoke disgusted me so bad that I just could never look at her again.
Really?
You said those words to me, Robin.
Well, I must have been. That must have been right after the.
That might have been before you changed.
No.
was
I
way before
know
she changed.
exactly why I don't talk to this. I know who he's talking about, and I know
Oh.
exactly why I don't talk to her, and it has nothing to do with her smoking.
I see. In other words, but it is weird that you make up a story to Gary.
Well, that was right after we came back from that trip, and I was disgusted.
Oh, I see.
But I didn't stop talking to her because of that.
Something else happened.
I started to stop talking to her.
It was a huge influence, Robin.
Well, it didn't help.
So did Fred finish his list?
No.
No, I didn't finish.
He
All right,
got
go
to the
ahead.
first person, and then...
I said Gary was the most normal.
Right. And then I'm the next and the most normal.
No,
Let
you're
him
not.
do it.
No, I am letting him do it. What am I? I'm not influencing him. He doesn't get influenced by me. Go ahead, yeah?
Then it would be Howard.
Right.
No! Fall into pressure.
Fred, am I not? No, seriously, Fred, seriously, be honest. Who do you think is next the most normal on the show?
Next most normal, I would say it was you.
Thank you.
No,
I know he
'cause
thinks
I'm
that. I know he believes it.
there. I know you're not 95%.
I am a lot more normal than you, Robin.
You are not.
Go ahead, Fred. Next.
Then Robin.
Really?
Yeah.
Robin.
He's fighting back. You don't like those Mars jokes.
Go ahead.
And then Jackie.
What? You think Jackie's stranger?
I think Jackie is much stranger than he appears. You get a belt in him or two, boy,
And you get a mouthful.
you're definitely
Well,
you're definitely in the swamps.
I know what
Yeah.
Fred is really weirded out by Jackie's sexual history, those stories that Fred and I were discussing the other
I
day. how
tell you, anybody that's going to sit there and hang his butt out a window and do
Oh,
something.
gee, I think that's
See, he thinks that's weird.
Right,
as
he's
opposed
weirded
to
out.
I
I
don't think that's
that
normal,
bothers
but I
Fred.
don't think that's abnormal either.
No, I think
Okay,
Jackie's very
there you
loose
go.
about his body, and he's a free thinking. I don't see that as
Okay,
weird.
I'll admit in that.
What I think is
then
weird
that's a
about
different
Jackie
thing.
is the belligerence and sort of the frustrations that he sometimes experiences. But I think a lot of that has left him.
I think it's his lack. He doesn't have a real clear logic about things.
Yeah, and he also he's a poor judge of character. But I would just say those are flaws as opposed to being weird.
Just sitting here shows what a poor judge of character.
What a nice compliment I just gave you.
Well, if I would search through that sentence again and look for the compliment.
But Jackie, after
No, but I
years
can
on the
see-
road in comedy and stuff, he had a lot of anger in him. But I think now that he's having some success in his life and some order in his
calmed
life,
down some.
he's really actually become a lot more pleasant.
But I'm sure a lot of people like Fred would think.
I might have called you the most weird on the show 5 years ago.
But see, it's weird is a whole different thing.
But
If
Fred
it's
is not
talking
seeing it.
about
But
sex
that's
or
Fred's
talking about-
inability to, Fred's in and out of reality. That's why he's the most weird on the show. He doesn't realize that what you're doing is perfectly acceptable. And
in some stupid terms.
yes. But that's not Fred's fault. He's a product of his upbringing.
And I once again submit that you are the product of yours. Gorilla was just telling me stories about you. While you were getting stories about me,
Yeah.
I was getting stories about you.
Hey, Gorilla better keep his little mouth shut. Because I'm sure there's a bunch of stories on Gorilla I can find out pretty
Robin,
easily.
what about his germ thing?
What about it?
He said the other day you were in an elevator,
Yeah.
and some guy reaches over and shakes your hand.
Right.
And jokingly, he turned to you after the guy left and said, okay, Howard, and he offered you his back to wipe your hands.
Yeah.
And you started wiping your hands all over.
I did. Well, the guy offered me his back.
Oh, please. You have a problem.
Yeah. I don't like germs.
And you're a hypochondriac.
That's not true.
That is absolutely true.
I have real illnesses.
Oh, please.
I have real dilemma.
You couldn't be that sick.
I'm very healthy.
How could you think there's less germs on Grillo's back than that guy's
Really?
hand?
Look, let me tell you something about germs. When a guy shakes it, let me just explain myself. I'll take a break. You got to understand what's doing out in our lobby at the radio station. There are listeners that come up here. These are the dregs of the earth. You're not talking about a businessman or something. This is a guy who looks like he just crawled out of a hole and just came out of Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment. I'm telling you, they're a guy, and they come up to you, and the first thing they're going to do, hey, Howard. And they stick out the hand. They got to shake hands. There's got to be some contact made. And I'm standing there holding 2 bags in my hands. There's no way I could shake it. So I put the bags down. I reluctantly shake the guy's hand. Not that I don't like him, not that I think I'm any better than him, but I can see something's been going on with these hands. And they've been somewhere. And I've read many studies that say that germs are passed through the hands.
Can I just say something now?
Now, I shake the guy's hand, and there's this wet mess now on my hand. It's wet. My hand is physically wet. And I'm saying, is this because the guy sneezed? Is this because the guy perspires? Is this because the guy's got a disease? I don't know, but I'm standing there with a wet hand. And I go, I love to get in the car and pick my nose. Now, I can't because this guy just screwed up my hand. So Gorilla turns to me and he says, hey, boss, I know you don't like your hand like that because I'm screaming. Why has this guy got to shake my hand? He sees my hands are full. So he says, why don't you wipe them on my back? So I wipe my hands on his back. Gorilla doesn't have a thing about it, so I wipe my hand.
Well, there's my point. You have a thing about it.
I do.
Anybody else would have shaken the guy's hand, and when they got home,
You're wrong. You have the same exact thing.
You gotta have your hands.
You are the same way.
Excuse me.
You're
I
the
want
same
to
exact
tell
way.
another story.
Yeah, go ahead. But would you admit that you're the same way? And that when the listeners shake your hand, sometimes they're
I
really...
won't shake their
Yeah, you don't even shake their hand. So what are you talking about? How can you say I'm weird?
Excuse me.
Would you touch a guy who was covered with sores?
No.
But you can have your hands clean so you can pick your nose.
Yeah. I enjoy picking my nose. You don't? Oh, here's the guy.
Jackie gets his hand dirty, of course.
So far, I don't hear anything weird.
Excuse me.
All right, sleeping in my clothes is weird. Okay,
Sleeping
I'll
in
give you
your
that.
clothes. And
Yeah.
the hypochondria. I'm not letting this go. I have actually seen you in a room when somebody's telling you about their illness. I have seen you take on the
I get symptoms, yes.
All right?
Who is the person?
It was a long time ago in
You
Washington
never saw
that I
that.
saw you
That's a lie.
almost go into a coma. A woman was describing her meningitis.
I think I caught it from her.
I have seen you make yourself physically sick from mental problems. Like if there's a lot of pressure on you.
Let me explain something to you, Baba Booey.
No, I know you have a lot of pressure.
You
I'm not saying
haven't had
don't.
mental pressure in your life. I'm telling you, you
You
haven't.
just reminded me of something else, Gary.
And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something about mental pressure. All right. First of all, you're mental. I'll give you that. But there's no pressure in your life. That's why you're the most normal, because there's
But
no
don't
pressure.
pick
You
on
walk
me.
around like this like a robot.
Don't pick on me. It's
No, let me tell you
trait.
something about mental pressure. If I had a normal life like you do, I wouldn't react to anything. There are very few people in my situation who are scrutinized as closely as I am. When you open up the paper and you read that the radio stations are about to lose their license, you lose this, they're fighting over you like crazy. You got the pressure of getting a monthly
You think he developed all these quirks last
How come
week?
Roseanne?
a monthly report card in the ratings. What about Roseanne?
How come Roseanne and Sinead O'Connor aren't sick like that then all the time too? Because
Sick. She's getting her brain smoked, that Roseanne. She can't even
but
concentrate.
those are people who are constantly.
The woman, she's
scrutinized.
writing letters to editors of papers calling them faggots.
Yeah,
you don't
she's
see me
pregnant.
doing that. What are you talking about? And Sinead O'Connor is such a whack job, she can't even get a word out straight. What are you talking about? You're so dumb.
Her head is branded. She's fine.
Oh, boy. You get the worst analogy.
All right.
Baba
Secondly,
Yeah. Baba Booey with a bad
my
analogy.
support of the hypochondria
Booey.
argument.
Yeah.
Do you or do you not?
I don't want to talk about this.
Robin's moving up.
Go ahead.
Gary's main worry in life is getting good seats for a free screening, and he's telling me about
Baba
pressure.
Booey.
Do you or do you not almost lose your voice before every birthday show?
No.
Yes.
Last birthday show, play the tape. Did I lose my
Please,
voice?
Howard, you're a mess. And every time we used to start at a new market, you would lose your voice.
That is not
When
true.
I met you in Washington, D.C., could you speak? No.
Let me tell you something. To now knock down that argument, when I was in Detroit doing radio,
Yeah.
when I met you, this is before I went on in a new market.
Right.
For the last 7 months, for the 7 months I was in Detroit, I had a tremendous vocal problem. It was a case of eating the wrong foods, and I was getting sore throats every weekend to the point that I was diagnosed that I would die in a few years. Now, let me tell you, and I had pneumonia.
Die in a few years?
And I had a pneumonia every other weekend. Now, when you met me, my voice was ravaged and I didn't know how to cure it. I was on a steroid. I thought that drugs were the answer. They were not. It was improving my diet. So to answer your charge about me losing my voice, so to speak, when you met me in Washington, it was under an unfortunate circumstance. All right, that's enough about me.
Now, what about New York?
Had a cold.
Oh.
In New York, anybody would have lost their voice. No one could have withstood that pressure. Do you know, I can't believe you brought this up. I was thinking about it. My first, Fred, please. My first broadcast, all right, I'll break in a second. My first broadcast in New York, those imbeciles at NBC had completely ruined me. They had completely debilitated me. I was almost on a stretcher being, they were psychologically torturing me. Then I go to do the first show. This general manager, Dom Fioravanti, gets the idea that for my first show, he should bring in the whole sales department to watch me through the glass. Did you know about this?
No.
I'm sitting there about to do a show, and of course I had no voice. No one would have a voice. The sales department is staring at me. I'm doing a show that I'm not even interested in doing. They're trying to change my act. And I lost my voice. And I say to this day, thank God I lost my voice, because I didn't give those imbeciles the satisfaction of letting them see me do my show. It was the most disgusting thing. This guy had no idea what I did for a living, this Fioravanti, and he marches in his whole sales staff to stare at me while I'm doing my radio show. It's like what I'm doing is like being a trained monkey. It was like I was in the electric chair and they were witnesses to my death. What?
I just have one more point on the hypochondria thing. Because
I don't think anything you've said is that weird.
No,
what, that I might get ill due to pressure?
You find that in medical books.
But I am a sensible human being. I am a sensible human being.
Hey,
you know what?
Everybody shows their stress in different ways. Yours is to get sick.
But I am a rational man.
But okay, I was going to say something.
Rational.
That's an irrational thing, to get sick for no good reason.
I was sick for very good reason.
I'm going to get yelled at for this and get thrown out, so this is my parting shot. Because I know you're going to scream at me for this. Last week, you had back trouble, which I don't believe was hypochondria. I believe was.
I had a shoulder injury.
I believe that you had genuine trouble.
Yes.
Every single person here has had back trouble before, and we know it is definitely painful.
Yes.
But you were laying on the floor screaming at the top of your lungs. It was. I mean, you would go to your back office and you would get on the floor and just go, oh. And then every time we tried to get anything done, I would say, okay, I don't want to bother you. No, go ahead.
You know, you're an imbecile. I'm going to tell you why you're an idiot. I'm going to tell you why you're as dumb as a wall. This is the guy, he took over one time for me to do best of. He had to read off a card. He walked off the air. He was like this. Oh, boss, I got to go home. I got to go relax. I got to go
What on earth are you talking
know exactly. I can't sit at the office. I got to go home because if I do the show in the morning, I'm completely wiped out. I can't do both things at the same time. All you had to do is read off the cards. You don't even know what it's like to be on the air for 5 hours.
I don't understand the comparison.
The comparison is simple. I was experiencing tremendous back trouble.
But Robin's on the air for 5 hours, and I've seen her with tremendous back trouble or other pains.
Yeah. But how do you know her back trouble was as bad as what I was going through? You can't evaluate.
I would never do that because I don't complain like you.
No, you go right home after the show when you don't feel good, and you go relax. I have to sit here and write the show.
And sometimes not. How dare you say that?
What I am saying is I had to be here after the show with my back trouble.
Right, moaning like you got a lot of work out.
And I went back and laid down on the floor and tried to stretch my back out a little bit. And this imbecile, he said, hey, boss, we got to get work done. Excuse me, I'm dying here. What an idiot. You're an idiot. You know, you're right. You should leave. Why don't you leave the room? You're so stupid. Hey, boss, why can't we go on? I'm feeling fine. What an idiot.
To leave several times.
I'm the guy. If I ever miss a day of work.
All he have said about me is
do I ever miss a day of work?
No.
I could get through a show if they put pins in my feet.
All they have said about me is that I have a bad temper. You
have an irrational temper, Robin.
It's irrational.
It's not even a rational thought process when you get irrational.
You're absolutely right, but there's one thing that you got on me.
It's a major
it's a major flaw.
Oh, shut up.
It's a major flaw.
It comes up 20, 50 times a day.
That's not true. Now stop lying.
No, I'm not saying your flaw does, but your judgment does, and sometimes it's erratic.
Excuse me. Baba Booey. Well, this is the only show that evaluates itself. For the last hour, we've been involved in a therapy session where everyone has picked apart the other person.
That's true.
Robin, you didn't give your list.
I will give you my list very
after the
quickly.
word, after these commercials, right after these. All right, brother. Hey, brother. You almost got no. We were bad-mouthing him the whole time he was out. All right. Don't walk out of this room now. Everybody's evaluating everyone else. What are we doing? Brother, hey, look, if you want a good idea for gifts, I mean, let's face it, everyone's looking for a good idea. Brother P-Touch. That's right. A lot of people like to make labels. That's what's great about this Brother P-Touch. Don't you see the Brother P touch is the perfect gift? What if you could make labels? I know anybody who's sort of an organizational freak loves this. When you've got file folders and you have computer disks, you want a nice label on it. You want to feel good about your labels. I know that sounds stupid when you say it, but you do, don't you? You feel better about your file system when you got nice labels. You almost take the filing system more seriously when you have good labels. Am I correct?
I had to lend somebody a videotape the other day of an old Seinfeld show.
Right.
And usually you just like put a Post-it on it or it falls off or whatever.
It's not the same thing.
I just typed out a label and handed it over.
And it seems more professional. Seems like you're involved in something. Something bigger. A label is everything. I love labels. I label people all day for a living. I love labeling. I wish I could stick a label on every person's head. Fred, I put a label on you, weirdest guy on the show.
I accept it proudly.
All right. God knows what he does in that apartment. Brother P Touch, available at Staples, PC Richard, and J&R Music World. That's Brother. Robin, you came in during the commercial, and...
I have now figured it all out.
No, that was misguided, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
Robin came in and said, you know how you figure out who's the most normal on the show? You figure out who would blend in, if we put everyone out on the street, who would blend in with the crowd?
If you just put them in a bunch of strangers.
That's you saying you're going by appearance.
Not appearance.
Yes.
Who would have no trouble starting up a conversation, making himself comfortable?
That doesn't mean that person's normal.
Wouldn't have any quirky things that would make the people look at them strangely, like they can't drink and they got to have a certain type of food.
It's only one aspect of a person, though, but it's a good idea, but it's only one aspect.
All right, give us your list. Go ahead.
Right.
Based on whatever you want to base it on.
I'll base it on this.
Just give me the list. Who's the weirdest guy on the show?
The weirdest guy on the show is you.
No.
You.
No,
you would have the most trouble in that situation.
No,
you
that's
cannot
not true.
be alone. Your wife socializes.
I can't
for
be
you,
alone. All I am is alone.
No. If you go out into a crowd, you have your wife with you or one of us because you need that help socializing. Unless it's a business situation with which you will then overcome this little quirk.
I know I'm more normal than all of you.
Excuse me, I'm not finished. You could not handle. You have no sense of direction. You can't find your way anywhere.
That's just a sign of intelligence. I'm not
No.
stupid. That's not a sign of being quirky.
This has something to do with your brain function.
But that's what makes me the performer I am. I can't befuddle myself.
Look, if we're not talking.
You want to know why I'm the most normal on the show? Well, hold it. You want to know why I'm the most normal on the show? I know you're not. I'm interrupting you. I'm sorry. You have to be interrupted. The reason I'm the most normal on the show is the reason I am a successful radio performer is because I can relate to the average guy.
No, you can think like him. You can't relate to him.
All right, so let's say I'm the weirdest on the show. Okay, I'll accept that. Who's the second weirdest?
Second weirdest is probably...
No, Fred.
Probably...
I
might be with Fred if we're a toss-up.
You and Fred are a toss-up. All right.
Who said that?
All right, I'll go with that.
Then, the next most normal person.
Boy, I got evaluated to death. You and Fred you just passed right over you. All right, but that's okay.
I'm just thinking again of my theory about Freddie wouldn't have any better time blending in with a group of people than I would.
Blending in, they would stone him to death. It would be like Frankenstein. They would throw rocks at him.
People like him, but everybody says Fred's weird.
Yeah, there's no question Fred's the weirdest one.
You can't pass over the fact that Fred is totally uncomfortable with even the thought of having any of us who have got to be somewhat friends, if not close friends, ever to the place where he lives.
Oh, not to mention the fact that we set him up with his girlfriend. And you think the girlfriend would even get us into his apartment, and the girlfriend can't even get through to Fred on this.
That is very.
And the girlfriend has actually made Fred appear more normal. She's dressed him up. She's given him. He goes on vacations. Sure. But if she dumped him,
Fred would go right back
to being Fred.
I understand why he doesn't want us there, because he knows if we come there, we're going to look for something to talk about. But that's the show.
In fact, the only reason Fred is now acting, which seems like, wow, Fred's really branching out, because the girlfriend is acting and getting into his acting.
But it's easy for him because he doesn't have to be himself, too.
Well, yes, absolutely. But even more so, if the girlfriend didn't lead him to the acting class to get him involved in that whole community, Fred would just sit in his apartment. He wouldn't go out and do this stuff.
But Fred is really good. Fred is really good in social situations in front of strangers, except it's not Fred.
But the strangers would still say there's something weird.
I used to tell Fred when I first met him, because Fred was having trouble, like, going to a bank and even learning how to open a bank account. I said, Fred, you know how you act like a lawyer? Go pretend to be a lawyer.
There you go.
Put on your lawyer voice. Because on the show, he would pretend to be a lawyer and it would be good. Put on your lawyer voice and go to the bank and ask questions like you do. And then he would do that. So you can program Fred and send him out and do stuff.
So now you convinced me Fred is the next after you.
Oh, come on,
third.
Robin. You know what? You're trying to be shocking here, but you know Fred is so much more abnormal than me.
I'm not.
I at least created a life for myself.
In terms of blending into a group of strangers, Fred could pretend to do that better than you for a short period of time.
Fred is on another planet. And I don't mean it in a malicious way, Fred. I love you. Fred, I'm a big Fred fan. Who is a bigger Fred fan than me?
Me.
So, I mean, you know, I don't mean it maliciously, but, I mean, Fred
you do.
Hey, no one has even brought up the fact that when Fred telephone calls you, if you finally get him to call you, he will stay on that phone for hours unless you end the conversation.
Well, that has changed.
Oh, really?
Fred won't call you.
No, Fred, I talked to Fred now, and he doesn't really stay on with you long at all.
You know why? Because now he has those sort of mental patient phone conversations with his girlfriend. I see him back there. He disappears. Is it not weird that he disappears for over 45 minutes every day after the show?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
you can't
it's
find
real
Fred.
weird.
Even if there's a rush, he still insists on putting away things, even though we can get interns to do it. He has
That
his
is
routine.
true.
Come on, Fred's the weirdest guy in the show.
All right.
Come on.
All right. Fred is the weirdest.
You're so full of it.
You're
Thank you.
next.
I mean,
so full of it.
You're right.
fine, but if I get to resent being called the weirdest guy on the show and Fred's sitting
You
here.
are the weirdest guy.
No,
ever.
Robin
He's right,
needs to.
Fred. He's right, Fred.
Fred, I wasn't going to bring this up. I wasn't going to bring any of this up.
I think all three of you just tied. That's what
No.
But
I wasn't
Freddie,
going to disparage Fred on the air, but I had to in my own defense.
Freddie, you know how it is. If
Gary.
we call a meeting, we can't get you there.
Oh, and
such a lie, Rob.
And
Why
how
are you
about
lying?
how about when we did the TV show at Channel 9? Fred wouldn't even talk in the meeting. Then directly after the meeting, he'd come up to me and say, "Oh, you know what would be a good idea?"
Yeah. Oh, and Fred's bag. We
Because
didn't
I
even
get
think
tired
about
of
the bag.
screaming over everybody.
You know what? If this was the Fred Norris show,
Yeah.
like the way it's a Howard Stern show,
Yeah.
in other words, you have some weirdness, but you talk about a lot of it on the air. So
Right.
I sort of understand some of it.
Right.
Fred is an enigma. There's a lot of things about him that I don't understand, and that's why.
Well, ask him now. Now's the time to
The
ask.
Fred Norris show would be over at 6:01.
Yeah, right. That'd be a problem. No, Fred is the weirdest guy. Robin, please.
All right, Fred is the weirdest.
I resent being called the weirdest guy on the show.
But you
Fred,
are.
you're
I'm not.
very weird,
You
but
are.
You
Fred
just
is
why?
weird.
Your list was not.
You wouldn't. What are you talking
Because you're
about?
being mean.
No.
Because you are being
You gave a
mean.
list. You gave a
already
list.
gave your list, and he wasn't even on it.
You said I was
being
almost
nice.
I was more normal than Gary.
I was being nice.
No, you weren't. You were telling the
being
truth.
nice.
I'm a normal guy.
I lied. I lied. Like
There's something wrong with you.
changing his list. I
Yeah.
definitely am.
No, you're not.
changing his
Hey,
list.
you get. Hey, I'm turning off
Hey.
your microphone. You can't give a new list. That's all. He just ripped his microphone out. He's unplugging it in.
And you know, you got to remember,
What are you doing?
we always say it, and everybody knows it. Fred fights like a mental patient.
Yeah.
His mic off the stand.
Yeah, he's crazy. You're crazy. You're loony. Well, wait till Ciasano sees
Boy,
that.
is he acting out now?
Fred just took his microphone and threw it in the garbage.
You can't break equipment like that.
Fred, you just broke his microphone.
No, I don't think so.
You better plug it back in and see if it works.
No, I won't.
Because then I gotta go defend you like I do every once in a while.
I don't need you to defend me.
Oh,
Oh,
sure
yeah,
you
you know,
do.
when Fred starts yelling at people
Yeah.
inappropriately.
Can I ask a question?
Like
Yeah.
the managers.
Can I ask a
I
question?
never yell at a boss, Fred.
About 5 minutes ago, were we having fun?
Yeah, now it turned ugly.
It really did.
No, because because Robin was trying to be shocking and say I'm the most weird.
I was
You forgot how weird Fred is.
I did. Why didn't you ever point this out
I'm
early?
sorry. I didn't want to. I thought you would just say he was weird and leave it at that. Fred's strange. How about like when I mean, listen. How about when Fred stayed at my apartment and wouldn't leave?
Wouldn't leave.
How about when Fred with the hot dogs?
Yeah, and
What's
when
the
his
hot dogs?
apartment was
You know
broken
that.
into.
No.
Fred, there was a blizzard. Fred was over my apartment, so we went shopping so Fred could eat dinner over. So my wife decided we'll have fish for dinner. So Fred doesn't eat fish, but he wouldn't tell us. Then all of a sudden, I don't know how, but we Fred was twitching or something, and we said, Fred, are you all right? He goes, yeah. I go, you want fish? Yeah. I go, Fred, do you want hot dogs for dinner? He's just quirky. He's quirky. He's odd. He's odd.
I'll admit that.
All right. He's the weirdest on the show.
I didn't get that. So you had to make him hot dogs?
You had to make him hot dogs.
No, it was a whole thing, and then he was going to eat the fish anyway. I said, Fred, it's no big deal. You don't have to eat fish. You can have whatever you want. I'll buy you whatever you want for dinner. No. I mean,
And if you hadn't taken Fred home, Fred was going to try to make it to Connecticut in a blizzard.
Yeah. I mean, talk about weird.
Fred's getting upset.
And the cookie puss, we could go on for days.
Cookie puss for his mother?
Yeah. Well,
For
it
his Mother's
started
Day?
off as a joke. It turned into an ugly mess. And I'm weird, but maybe I'm weird, but you're mean.
Oh, come on. Oh, Fred, I had to defend myself.
Look at what they
you're
said
so
about
full
me
of it.
today.
Oh, Robin, that's nothing.
Can I ask Fred a question? He said,
Yeah.
this doesn't mean anything. Will you ever have us to your apartment?
No.
Gee, Fred, that hurts.
Yeah, I can tell you're hurt. The way you talk about me around there.
See, you're proving you're the weirdest guy on the show. I knew it. I knew you'd
come
crack.
on.
I knew you'd
If
crack.
someone said to you
Yeah.
that you were weird and
They did.
everybody...
We I've said it to each one of us.
come on.
You guys revealed I sleep in my clothes, not to mention...
You all unite, you know?
Not to mention my soiled underpants are still on from last night.
Please.
My night of fun.
Please.
I had a wild night last night.
Please.
I was with a lot of girls.
Wildest night of the year.
I was with Looney and Zarina, Queen of Dreams last
So
night.
now even you're willing to admit that it's kind of wacky that you do all that sleep and then come to work.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yep. I sleep in my clothes, I have fun, I have sex in my clothes, and then I come to work.
And I bet you he never changes.
But I never
It
smell.
always looks like the same outfit
I
to me.
never smell.
It always looks like the same
Because I have
outfit.
13th pair of these
lie.
sweatpants.
No, you
Call my
don't.
wife and ask her.
You don't.
Liar. I have 13 pair of black
He probably
sweatpants.
has one pair of underpants.
I wash up and I change them every day. I'm a clean guy.
He is not.
You have changed because you used to wear pants and boots
Right.
and get really dressed up to come to work, and now you don't do that anymore.
Because I'm not thin anymore. When I'm thin, I wear nice clothes.
You know what? I had an incredible revelation yesterday afternoon.
What?
The people at E are dressing you like Oprah.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
You know how they say you have to have the longer jackets to hide your butt?
Yeah.
Oprah had a jacket on down to her
You know, and I'm all for longer jackets, you're right, because as a 6'5" man,
You need a longer
jacket. But this guy this guy Henry, he's a nice guy and everything, and he's on the right track with the colors and everything,
Yeah,
but
the jacket was nice.
but he's going wild on me. I agree with you there. I don't know what's going on.
Howard's coat is as long as Oprah.
Wait till you see me on the Joan Rivers interview this Friday night. I'm wearing a black smoking jacket.
Really?
I look
a
like
real smoking jacket.
I look like Count Dracula. But
you have a cravat?
I'm telling you, there's something wrong going on there. But it don't matter what I'm wearing. You wait and see this.
But anyway, so Freddie's the weirdest.
Freddie? Yeah.
You're
That's it.
second.
Yeah.
I'm third.
No, that's wrong, but go ahead. I can prove you're the weirdest. In fact, I might even be able to prove that you're weirder than Fred.
Go ahead.
No, I don't want to get
Go
into
ahead.
it.
Because Fred has a relationship.
Yeah.
Weird or not weird, he has a relationship which is, I think that's...
All right, so I'm the second weirdest, you're third.
No,
and who's
go ahead, Jackie. What? I want to hear this.
No,
you don't. You want to hear commercial.
Oh, I do?
Yes, you do. Chiasano wants to come in and give his view on it.
Is that right?
Tom Chiasano, our
He
Joe
thinks
manager.
he has an objective opinion from the
Because I
outside
kept saying,
world.
you got to come
Yeah.
in and defend me, Tom.
Well, Tom's definitely on the outside world. He's certainly outside of this show. He's on the wrong side of this show right now. We'll be
Well,
back.
that is an objective opinion. Would you consider Tom a normal guy?
I'll bet you. You want to bet money?
All right.
I'll bet any one of you that Tom thinks I'm the most normal guy on this show.
I disagree.
I bet you don't.
What? I disagree. I bet you
how
how
much?
much Robin is the most normal one.
No, he won't.
Oh, he absolutely does.
No, he
Oh,
doesn't.
Tom and I have a wonderful relationship.
Exactly.
Well, then you're putting on a real good show for him.
Exactly. Yes, he's doing a great show.
All right, let's see what happens when he comes back. We'll be back right after this word.
I just got Gorilla's list of who is the most
Let him
normal
come in and
on the
tell
show.
us. Let everyone come in and tell us.
Yes,
I'm enjoying this
because
conversation.
you should be evaluated by someone outside of this organization.
Jackie the Penthouse Joke Page Martling this Saturday. And tell Chiasano to come in, too, Gary. Jackie the Penthouse Joke Page Martling this Saturday, December 12th. One big show at Club A. Jackie will be holding his group therapy session there in Sayreville, New Jersey. Go try and stump the joke, man. It's always fun for endlessly dirty jokes and show information. Call the all-digital 516-922-WINE. Remember, 516-922-WINE is just a regular call. You know, by the way, while you make your evaluation, Mr. Chiasano and Gorilla and everyone else, you know, when Jackie was out of the room, we started talking about some of Jackie's abnormalities.
Yeah.
Like, one of his big abnormalities is that as successful as things are going for him and all this, refuses to get a manager. Like, that's a weird thing.
Yeah.
And, in other words, he's got his wife doing it. But I
Or
believe...
he does it himself.
Which makes... And even Tom, as your general manager, doesn't that cause a lot of ill feelings between, like, you and Jackie because you don't have, like, a third party to deal with and Jackie becomes the runt, if you will?
We've always handled it, but it certainly has caused some friction.
Right.
In the past.
In the past, absolutely.
Yes.
Not for 3 years.
It's not for 3 years.
You must have a 3-year contract. That's one thing I can figure out.
I saw Jackie at the typewriter only yesterday.
Oh, was that right? Were you there yesterday, Jackie? Jackie preparing for his next negotiation. And I said, I believe, this is when Jackie was out of the room, I believe it's because Jackie is so cheap that he can't part with that 10%.
That's the 10%.
No, that's the thing that seriously annoys me the most.
That you don't know
this
you're
entire
cheap.
show. Yeah.
You
Because
really think you're generous?
Everybody I know in the world says they can't believe that you try to paint me as cheap because nobody in the world believes that I'm cheap.
See, that's the one thing he doesn't see in himself. Fred, help me out here.
What?
Jackie, what were we talking about the other day, how cheap he is?
Oh, about, what was it, well, he was paying lunch or something like that.
I don't know what it
First
was.
time I think he ever pulled out $1.
Yeah, and I don't know, he doesn't see himself as
Look
cheap.
at that. When was the last time you bought I used to take the guys to the Friars and stuff back when Fred was talking to me. But how often in 7 years you've never bought lunch?
Well, okay, I'll give you that.
I never bought
He has a serve to his house.
No, hold it a second.
Stop it.
No, hold it a second.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying. You
I give
accuse me
people-
of things that
Jackie,
nobody else does
First
either.
of all, the only reason you take people to lunch is because at the Friars Club you have a minimum that you have to meet in order to spend.
But I belong to a club where I put myself in that position.
Secondly,
Which means that I'm willing to spend that much on my
you put
friends.
yourself in that position because you're hoping to make show business contacts. Unfortunately, one of the
Okay.
side effects is you've got to spend a minimum amount of money on food.
See, now you can call
So
that.
you do it anyway, or else they would charge you anyway. That's the only reason you take people out to lunch.
That's
Secondly,
totally,
I give people cash.
totally faulty
I'll
logic.
tell you something. What was the thing that somebody did for Jackie, and Jackie finally, after a week, gave them some money? He paid them some money. It was like $20. Was that you, Gorilla? Did you get the $20? What did you have to do for that $20? Tell everybody.
It was last Christmas.
Right.
When you guys were on vacation.
Go ahead.
I had to just make
Vacation.
sure. I had to make sure Maria Melito got his plug every day.
Right. He called you up on vacation, and
He didn't even call. He left copies, and
Right.
Jackie said it was like my first time actually working here. And Jackie said, "Listen, it's your job to make sure she reads the plug."
Right.
And just for like the 2 weeks, I made sure Maria read the plug.
Now, Gorilla didn't expect anything, but Jackie figured, hey, I'll give him a gratuity. Gives the kid $20.
For doing what, though? I think
no.
that was fantastic.
No, I know you did, but the
you
whole
thought that was
yeah,
mean?
It was too little. The buzz around the station was that you'd really just skimped out. You cheaped out.
And I have to admit, that's another.
But all right, listen, that's okay. Listen, you've had a lot of tough breaks, and you're holding on to every penny. I understand, and you can't even believe your good fortune. But Tom, give me your list of who is the most.
The wackiest.
All right, start from the wackiest and then work your way back. Who's the most
strangest person in the team.
Who is the strangest person?
Listening to this thing.
And you happen to believe Fred is strange. I know that. I know that.
Who couldn't?
I know that you do.
Well, this is an interesting group anyway.
Right. All right, you can see yourself an outsider in a sense. You get to observe us every day. You know Robin, you know Fred, you know Jackie, you know Gary, and you know me.
Right.
Out of those 5 individuals, who is the wackiest?
Don't look at Howard while you're here.
No, wait. Don't look at me.
There's no problem.
Jackie, stop trying to influence him.
No, because
There is no problem. It's me. I'm the most.
As I was trying to think about it, I was thinking of who is the easiest to communicate with.
Go ahead.
And bizarre as it may sound, what you said before is true. I think I have the easiest time communicating with Howard.
Thank you.
Excuse me?
I told you Tom would say I was the most normal.
Just get out now, Tom.
Jackie,
thinking about this time.
Come on. All right, I am the most normal on the show.
No, I didn't say the most
say the most
normal. I said I
All right, so who, Tom,
You having a hard time communicating with me, Tom?
No. Oh, no, I didn't say that.
who is the most normal on the show?
I can't believe it.
Howard.
Please, Howard.
Gary's probably the most normal.
Okay, all right. Okay, fine. Okay, I'll give him that. All right, go ahead. Next is me.
Please.
Next is who? Tom, be honest. I'm the most rational
wait,
of the
wait.
group.
Are you lobbying here?
And he knows, and Tom admires me.
Well, that's okay. That has nothing to do with whether you're normal or not.
Although when I rant and rave about other radio people in his office, maybe he's the wrong impression
Yeah, I
about me.
can point out some things to you, Tom.
No. All right, go ahead. Let me keep quiet. All right, let's not bring up any more.
Okay, I would say Gary, Howard, Robin, Fred, Jackie.
That's a surprise.
Not really. I've heard Tom's discourse like that.
No. And
it has nothing to do with.
this is nothing. I mean, listen. I mean, I get along with everybody. So I mean, this is not anymore.
Not anymore.
I'm really
sorry.
disappointed. I've been working on Tom.
What really threw me
That's
off,
what I
Jackie?
did.
Robin, that's a lot better than you deserved.
What really threw me off, Jackie, was looking at the finger cuts. I'm sorry.
Janji, who's the most normal on the show?
I gotta go.
The most normal?
Yeah.
Jackie.
You think Jackie?
Yeah, definitely.
You're the complete opposite of Tom.
I think definitely Jackie.
Who's the next?
Gary.
Why? Because Gary goes out at night? I can't go out at night.
He seems like a very normal person.
But why does Jackie seem more normal than me? Now I'm curious.
Yeah.
Jackie can blend in, I think.
Oh, that's your stupid theory. You're a dumb fat
He's a
guy.
blend-in theory.
I don't know. I think he.
All right, get out of here.
he's
Who
a
even
normal
cares about
person.
your opinion? You're not even funny
But you're the
anymore.
weirdest.
Oh, I am?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you have more quirks than anybody I've ever seen in my life.
The interns
really
have all
do.
been telling
More than
me,
Robin.
Howard.
More than
Excuse
Robin.
me.
Can I tell a story about...
You're not just the weirdest in this room, Howard.
Yeah.
You're the weirdest he's ever met.
In his life.
You really are the weirdest person I've ever met in my whole entire
Why
life.
is that?
You have more quirks than anybody I've ever seen.
You don't know the pressures. You know, young man, as you start out in life, you're a kid who grew up in your father's house. Your father's a millionaire, and you don't even know what you're doing. You know what? You're, to me, is the weirdest guy in the show. You know why?
Why?
You're out of college now 3 years, and you still have no motivation to get a job.
He graduated this year.
How long have you been an intern here? How long?
2 years.
2 years.
I've been here.
And you've yet to, now you want to be in radio, right?
Right.
And you, first of all, you have no voice for radio. That's number one.
Him. You asked him
Because I just realized who the weirdest guy in the show is. It's Ganji. And you have no, you've made no audition tape. The whole time, 4 years in college, you worked at a college radio station.
Right.
You didn't tape yourself. You didn't cut down a piece of tape.
Nope. Not
You don't think that's bizarre?
That is very bizarre.
That's a guy who's living on the edge, my friend.
But let me tell you what the
I have quirks because I have pressure in life. I have to provide for a family, and I had to, when I got up, let me tell you something, when I was in college, I already had a job. I worked for WNTN in Newton, Massachusetts. I was already on the air.
Let me just tell you what the interns have been saying back there.
They're little retards. You haven't worked a day in your lives.
This is the best. Because they say,
wait a second.
You know?
No, hold it.
What?
All of the interns here end up staying here for 3-4 years.
They're kids who have a certain perspective. They know what it's like to sort of work your way into this group.
And if they were honest, they would say that you're the weirdest.
No, what they say to me
Fred is weirder than I am?
Howard is the one.
Fred's weird, not weirder
You've
than
never seen Fred torture all you guys?
Oh, definitely.
You don't think that's weird?
It's a lot of enjoyment.
Tell me 3 of my quirks.
And it's no different than what happens to me when you and Robin and Jackie
For on-air purposes, Fred.
Oh, I get it.
What is
don't do it to you in the
Which I
home.
do it to make a living.
You do it in the office, you do it in hotels, you do it on airplanes.
All right, that's true.
bull.
Other places I don't, though.
Right. Oh, come on. Where?
Ganji,
What?
Robin doesn't torture you guys the most?
No.
No, she tortures us a lot, but, you know, not you. It's not torturing as in we.
Nobody said you tortured them, Howard. Did you let the...
I never said
What is quirky about me?
You have a lot of quirks.
Name one. You can't even name one.
They were sitting out there talking to me about how...
By who?
About everything.
What,
You get weirded out
potatoes?
There are rules.
I'm hungry when I get off the air.
No, but just like seeing people touch. There's an unspoken rule that, you know, like Howard's not supposed to see his potatoes prepared. Is that true?
That's true. That is true.
See?
When you see your potatoes being prepared,
No, Gary, this is your fault, and I'll tell you why I blame
it's
you.
not my fault. You yelled at them for touching them the wrong way.
I used to yell at Gary because I used to say, Gary, you make my potatoes. He pawned it off on the interns. Lo and behold, once in a while I walk in the men's room, I see one of the interns, he takes a leak. Then, instead of washing his hands, he's in the sink with my potatoes, washing the potatoes. So I pull Gary aside. I say, Gary, I just walked into the men's room. I see a stuttering John. He's just gone to the bathroom, and now he's handling my potatoes. He's used no hot water and soap on his hands. I'm a little disturbed by this. You handle the potatoes. So Gary goes out and says, don't let Howard see you with the potatoes. You see, there's no quirk there, pal.
Excuse me. This is what they're telling me out there.
Yeah, well, let them tell you some more.
They get a set of rules as to how to deal with you, and they have to think about everything they say before they say it to you.
Let me hear one thing that I ever
No, because they say to me, Howard, that you will let them go, and then you'll call Gary into the office and say, keep that kid out of here. So they have to watch everything
well, first of all, let me tell you a secret.
I'll tell you what happened the other day.
One of the things that we do is, Gary and I have made up a system where Gary gets very little respect from the interns. Now I have to give away the secret. And when I see something wrong, Gary wants to be the one to tell them. Because Gary is in charge of the interns.
Come on.
Not true?
When did you and I have this conversation?
About 1,000,000 times that you are in charge of the interns. You're in charge of hiring them and firing them. And you said, hey, Howard, if I'm not the guy who can sit there and fire them and hire them, then they're not going to listen to me. And I certainly have I have delegated that authority to you.
Right, but that doesn't mean, you're absolutely right. But it doesn't mean that the things that bother...
So I should yell at Gorilla or Ganji?
It doesn't mean that the things that bother you about them sometimes are not a little quirky.
All right, I'll give you an example. I come in the other day, and I hear Ganji on the phone. Not Ganji, Gorilla on the phone. He's on the phone with Captain Jenks. He is having a discussion that is revealing way too much information. He's giving out phone numbers at this point to Captain Jenks of people who call into the show.
Now, he claims you're mistaken.
Okay, I'm mistaken.
I'm just telling you,
whatever it was, the phone call should have gone like this. Captain Jenks was looking for Gary. I said, Gorilla's going on for 3 minutes now while I'm trying to read the newspaper, and I'm listening. So I say, Gorilla hangs up the phone and go, Gorilla, who are you talking to? Believe me, I confront these guys. This guy's a little wise guy. You're a little turd, Gorilla. So I say to Gorilla, who are you talking to on the phone? He goes, Captain Jenks. All right, Fred, I'm closing out on this one. Captain Jenks. I said, oh, yeah, Captain Jenks? I said, where are you getting that phone number? Oh, he knows this guy, and he was looking for Gary, and Gary wasn't here, so I figured... No, I said, Gorilla, don't think. Gary, you just take a message that Gary is not here, and Gary will return the phone call. And did I tell you that?
Did I tell you that, Gorilla?
That's what you told me, but that's not what happened.
Okay.
You did tell me that. I was on the phone with Captain Jenks,
Yes.
only because he said it was very important. I was just trying to keep him on the phone until Gary got there.
All right. What did I tell you?
I was looking. You told me not to give out
So in
phone
other words,
numbers.
what I said happened. You were on the phone with Captain Jenks. Gary was not here. I told you. Take phone messages from Captain Jenks or anyone else. Don't deem anything more important than anything else. Just write down, Gary will call you back. Did I tell you that?
Yes, you did.
All right.
No
did I
way.
avoid telling you that? Did I tell it to you?
You did. You told me
All
right there.
Now, after that, Gary came in. I reported to him that I had to chastise one of his people, and I'll tell you why. Because Gary is supposed to keep them in line with the phone calls. It is Gary's job to teach the interns how to answer the phones.
He's right.
by
I'm glad,
saying,
I'm glad he told me what went on, but
that's
that's
not what they're
not,
talking
that's not
about.
the problem.
Now, why is that a weirdo
That is not
thing?
what they're talking about, Howard.
What are they
if
saying?
they're just having casual conversation with you, they are afraid they're going to say the wrong thing.
Well, that's because they're little turds who haven't experienced anything in life. You have no confidence in your abilities. You're
but
afraid
you
that
scare them.
they
and
are
they're
awed by
afraid
my
that they'll
awesome
never
abilities.
Be able to speak to
Admit
you
it.
again.
All of you guys who came here to work are big fans of the show.
No.
You're in awe. Oh, okay, sure. You're in awe of me. I'm the greatest radio personality that's ever lived. Name one that's greater. Name one that's accomplished more. You're young kids starting out. You're in awe of me.
So you could be a little magnanimous and take them under your wing.
Oh, I'm always
Not
nice to them.
scare them to death.
Yeah, I'll sit and babysit.
I didn't say you had to babysit.
You guys need babysitters. I'll throw you right out of here. I'm an emperor. You're dirt. That's all. What do you get it? What are you talking about? Tell me what you told Robin.
For me, I just told Robin who I thought the order was.
No. But
you said
Well,
something
I
to
told-
me in there
What
about
did you
how
say?
you have to worry about everything that you say to Howard. At least you can talk to me. If you say something stupid in front of me, you can discuss it.
Yeah.
But if you say it to Howard, he goes to Gary and says, get that kid out of here.
Well, because who wants a weirdo running around? That's weird. You got a pervert running around. You want him in the office?
I will say one thing that's weird about this whole office
Listen,
in general.
by the way, I am in charge, even though I'm not supposed to be.
Of
I'm in
course you
charge
are.
of the office.
You're the president.
I'm the president of the company, so I have to take all the heat. I have to be the Tom Chiasano, if you
Well,
will.
you're the president. I'm like a cabinet member. You're the president. It's your show. But
So
I do
if I see something strange going on, Robin, you can be a good guy, and Fred can be a good guy, and Jackie. I got
I'm
to
a
take
good guy.
Can I just-
I don't
Here's
think
one
that's come
thing
out
that-
of this conversation.
Here's one thing that is a little quirky.
Yeah.
Just not only about you, but about this whole office. There is a lot of like closed door things that'll go on.
Yes.
Like something will happen, and a door will be closed, and someone will go behind it, and then
all
you'll come out,
fireworks.
and then something will, and then
How many times does that happen?
Lots.
All right, and let me say something. Number one, it is beneath me. If I'm the president, if I'm the CEO of the Howard Stern Show, I can't sit and correct interns all day. That is not appropriate.
Agreed, but I
If
think
I
the
see
way
something
it's
going
done,
on, I tell my cabinet officer, that's Cabinet Officer Baba Booey, Minister of Interior.
but I think that there's a
And
weird,
Gary, you compliment yourself calling yourself a cabinet member. You're a page, believe me.
but there's a weirdness that goes on in the way that it's
Booey.
done. In other words, you could make a mental note or jot it down, and you could talk to me that evening. It's just so obvious. Do you know what I mean? It's like somebody will do something wrong, then I'll be called in, and then I'll be let out, and it's just very obvious what went on.
Do you understand what he's talking about?
I do, but he didn't express it very well. It was just what I just said. That they do something wrong, you immediately call Gary in and say, get rid of that
Let me
kid.
tell you something how you do it. Let me tell you how you do it. You ever own a dog? All right.
Long time ago.
All right. You know that if a dog makes a mistake, you got to swat him in the nose right away, don't you? Or else the dog doesn't know what he did wrong. It's the same with these interns here. No offense, kids.
Your dogs.
You're dogs. And when you do something wrong, 10 minutes later, you don't know what you did wrong. So I got to swat you right then and there. That's all. Either that or I got to rub your noses and crap. That's what you do with a dog. The dog goes to the bathroom on the floor, you rub his nose and duty. And then he doesn't do it anymore. So we rub your nose and duty, and then you straighten yourselves out.
All right, the bottom line is we're all weird.
All right, we got to take a break. Gorilla, if you want to, I'll let you tell who you think is the weirdest, and then I got to move on. I've got a lot of show to do here, and I've completely wasted an hour and a half. We'll be back right after these words. This person on the show, I still maintain that it's Fred. Others have differed with me. I knew that Tom Chiasano would find me one of the most normal guys on the show.
Well, you know, I'm now in agreement with you on your opinion of Tom's opinion most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think it's real interesting that the person by far that's getting the most upset by this whole thing is Fred, and this thing started because you guys accused me of getting upset because Fred was riding me too hard about something.
Right, Fred does get upset because he doesn't...
No, but isn't that how it started?
But you know, something about this should tell you. Everyone else on the show finds you normal, including me. The one guy who you negotiate with, do you understand? He finds you the oddest because you refuse to get a manager, which is precisely what makes you weird.
It's true.
Think about it. There's a lot of things going on here today, Rob.
Yeah, we're learning a lot.
Here's a great facts on why you're the most normal.
Howard is the most normal. 1, married over 15 years to the same woman. Number 2,
I could make an argument for that's why he's quirky.
Has 2 normal children. 3, you like your parents. 4, your in-laws annoy you sometimes. 5, you watch TV a lot. 6, you fantasize about other women. 7, you have limited sex with your wife. It's true, it's an even keel, I understand. 8, you masturbate. 9, you come to work every day. And 10, you think Tom is a jerk. Well, there you go. That's
that signed by another miserable bastard?
Well, Gorilla, quickly, and then we have Richard Simmons stories to tell. I got to get to my phone calls.
I just got to say one more time. You know, the interns can't even tell you on the air
what they say.
What they say to me.
That's why they won't be great broadcasters. What do they say?
They came out to me again and they said, "Here's the deal, Robin.
So why can't they say it to me?
When we have to say something to Howard, we rehearse it. So we make
but
sure
why does that make me
it's the
weird?
right thing."
Yeah, because that doesn't make me weird. Why does that make me weird?
That people can't have a free and open exchange with you doesn't make you weird?
No, it's just that I am in a position as the head of the show where they're nervous about it. They want to make an impression. A lot of them want to get jobs with the show.
I don't think that's it.
Oh, absolutely. Am I right, Gorilla? You wouldn't rehearse it if I was in Fred's position and it was the Fred Norris show. You'd rehearse what you say to Fred. That's all.
I would suggest rehearsing that anyway.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I rehearse what I say to Fred.
Yeah, right.
Fred, I just would like to ask you if you could write a bit. Fred? No, I'll say it like this. Fred, what do you think about writing a bit? No. Okay. Fred, you want to stay and write a bit? No, I don't want to say it like that. Now, Gorilla, who do you think
It just basically means, it has nothing to do with whether they're...
Of course it does.
Looking for a job with you or not.
Well, let me ask you something. Did you say that to Robin in the hall?
I told Robin that.
He said that to me.
Well, why does he... Well, let him explain it. Why would he rehearse what he says to me? He rehearses it because he's anxious to make an impression on me. Is that true?
No, because if they make a bad impression on you, that's the end.
Right, because I don't want you having a bad image of me. I have to rehearse in my mind what I'm going to say to you because I know you have a limited, you like zone out if someone's talking to you and, you start not to pay attention.
Why, because I don't want to hear nonsense?
Well, I guess that's why. So I have to, rehearse what I'm going to say so to keep your attention for, 2 seconds.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm doing you the biggest favor of your life because a lot of time is wasted words. And if you have a point to make, just make it so people don't get exhausted from you.
But can I say something? That's a quirk that you've managed to develop because you're Howard Stern. If you were just a normal guy, you would have to listen to everybody's junk.
That's not true.
Because you're in this big level, you are now allowed to cut people off and say, just get to it.
I never cut anyone off.
If you were
shut up and let Gorilla go. All right, Gorilla, go ahead. Who do you think is the strangest person on the show?
Well, since I'm the newest one here, I guess for me it's a tie between you and Fred. Because...
But disassociate yourself from what's on air. Talk about what you see off air. What do you observe off air?
That's what I get.
I think I am so normal to you kids.
The weird thing for me is...
The weird thing for me is...
The weird thing for me is... and what I've been able to observe... off the air and on the air.
We rehearse before we...
We rehearse everything we say before we get on the air. Then she plays you. And then sometimes we switch.
I got to be there for these rehearsals.
No, for me, is the way how weirded out sometimes you get about things. Like, when you were taping Bub Bottle Fiesta and you were on the elephant, you got very weirded out because I guess maybe it's, how high how high the elephant was. The thing is, you had, clearance, but still, you were still worried about...
I didn't want to hurt myself.
I know.
Well, you do have this thing, Howard.
First of all, I'm a very tall guy. You got to understand something. None of you can understand this.
Oh.
It's because I'm the most observed person on the show. Everyone will admit that. Everyone is busy psychoanalyzing me.
Howard, if you were alone with that elephant, you'd have the same problem.
Let me tell you something. I am a very tall guy. As a result, I have had to slow down in my life and observe everything, even where I step. Because when you're this tall, you're like a giraffe. You can't see anything.
Tell the truth and say that you have an incredible fear of heights.
Wrong. Who got up 30 feet on MTV? You wouldn't have done it.
Who cried before they did
it? Well, those were tears of love for all of you guys. Oh, Robin, if you had been up there, you would have made in your pants.
I had to force you to get up there.
Yeah, it was easy to do that. I would have forced you to get up there. All right, who is the weirdest person on the show? Me?
You and Fred have to be
definitely
tied. I think, well, Fred, because he can kid around, but you can't kid around with Fred. Because the second something like that happens, Fred, boom, he gets pissed.
No.
Like, when you got on Fred about the bag.
Right.
When you look in his bag, Fred's going, don't do it. Don't do it. And you're like, what? Well, what are you going to do? Well, I'll just do something, but don't do it. You know,
He won't do anything. I know him.
Very standoffish about anything when you go to talk to him.
He's not going to do a thing. He's got the world's greatest job.
And I just like, I don't know, Freddie's just weird because it's not weird doing this, but he keeps to himself totally. He's like in his own little shell.
Right.
And doesn't let anybody
there you're right.
in.
Fred is the weirdest guy in the
Especially
show.
considering, you know, you've been with him such a long time, and you two, you know, are pretty close.
We're not at all. I am not close at all with him.
We're not close.
He doesn't allow me into his inner circle.
Okay, so I was wrong with that.
The inner circle is in his head. And that's all locked up.
Nobody can get it.
Not close with Fred. I would like to be. I mean, I feel a certain kinship with him. I'm a big fan of Fred.
No, you wouldn't.
And his work.
No, you wouldn't.
And no one has lobbied harder for Fred. I negotiated with the horrible Goff LaBar to get Fred alongside of me. I mean, nobody would do that. I would rather stay out of Goff LaBar's office and have no Fred. So, you know, listen, nobody's a bigger fan, but Fred is, you're right, he is close to insane.
And, and from you, I take that as a compliment.
You're welcome.
But from like the show's standpoint, how like everybody gets on everybody, you can't get on Fred for anything.
That's correct. All right, so Fred is the weirdest. Now, why am I the second weirdest?
But that's just the bag thing. Is anything else?
Well, like
Robin is so weird, you're afraid to say that she's the second
like,
weirdest.
okay, during Best of,
Yeah.
during Best of, Gary played something with an argument with Fred. I don't remember what it was, but he told
But
me
you're
that-
going by on the air.
Yeah,
you're
but
going right
talk
on the
about
air.
yourself, your own experience.
Yeah.
You are afraid to joke around with Fred in the hall.
Exactly. All right.
But
one
you're just a gun-shy guy anyway.
You have no
Anybody
confidence
just
anyway.
looks at you and you're like, oh my God, my eyes are rolling back in my head. I don't know what to do next. Oh my God. It's like, you even hyperventilate when you get on the air sometimes.
That's true. But it's,
All right, Freddie, would you say that John is a shy guy?
John, Stuttering John?
Yeah.
That's when it comes out in his stutter.
But Fred, he's not afraid to say something to anybody, is he?
He should be.
He's afraid to talk to Fred.
He's deftly afraid to talk to Fred.
Well, John, you know, I kid around with him. Maybe I kid around too hard with him.
You can say that again. You're mean.
Well, so are you.
Only to you, because I'm the only guy who can keep you in line.
There you go.
Otherwise, you'd be running around here like Hitler. It's that Germanic background of yours.
Can't help it.
All right, so are you two idiots done?
Go ahead. Who's next? You did only got to Howard and Fred.
I said the next person would be Jackie, and I think Gary and Robin aren't weird at all.
What a bad judge of character you are.
No, I am. I find nothing.
You're a dumb kid. You're going nowhere in life. I'm not convinced of it. You have no, you know what? You will go nowhere in life.
Thanks.
You are completely oblivious to the world.
He's out of it.
You're out of it.
No way.
She's never gone off on you?
Honestly, compared to what the other interns have gone through, I've only got yelled at maybe twice.
That's right.
I saw you once get yelled at.
Once or twice, but the thing is, everybody's always told me I've got it so much, I've got it lucky, because I was only here...
Did I ever yell at you?
No. Well, it's on the air.
Have I ever said anything bizarre to you?
Bizarre? You haven't said anything bizarre, but you've acted bizarre.
In front of you, I've acted bizarre. Give one example of when I acted bizarre.
Okay, we were going to the movie screening
All right.
during the summer of that Dolph Lundgren movie.
Dolph Lundgren, yes.
Lundgren.
Lundgren.
Dolph Lundgren movie.
Yeah.
We was at the movies, and before we went to the movie, I was in the hall with Genji, and I was saying, sometime during the movie, I want to talk to Howard. So you'll be Howard, and there'll be this one scene when it's coming up. I want to say something good about the movie to him.
All right, so we're going to...
It's hard to understand why he's not crazy about Fred.
Right. So you go to the movie with me. I take you to a screening. I take you under my wing. Go ahead, yeah.
We were walking to the
Walking
movie.
to the screening.
It's just that you were oblivious to everything that was going on, and you were just like beelining to the movie, and you paid no attention
All right,
to
can I
anything
ask you a
that was
question?
said.
Let me ask you something. Put yourself in my shoes. You're walking through the streets of Manhattan now. You've got to walk 5 to 6 or 7 blocks. You're very recognized. Everyone's screaming at you, hey, Howard, how you doing? Hi, Howard, how you doing? Would you pause so people will ask you for autographs so we'll never get to the movie? Or will you keep moving quickly to get to the theater so we can all sit down and enjoy the movie? Answer the question, genius.
That's not...
That's a quirk? That's self-preservation.
What actually happened, Gorilla?
I walked quickly so I wouldn't have to stop for anybody.
It wasn't even that. No, it was... what did you just say?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just saying it's not a quirk, but it was just how you got really weirded out.
Was there
and it made
someone
me feel
yelling at
uncomfortable.
him?
Wait, say that again. What did you just say?
I said you got really weirded out, and it made me feel weird.
Are you oblivious to who I am?
No, I'm not, but it was around the
corner. Are you
corner.
so oblivious to the world that you don't know what goes on when I go out in the street?
I do, but nothing...
The people, I got the construction workers jumping off roofs on top of me, and you don't know what's going on.
Ganji says you walk in and she's going, oh my God, people are looking at me.
Right.
Yeah.
It is the strangest experience. It's not even normal to walk down the street, have people stopping you and yelling at you, and cab drivers crashing into each other. There's nothing normal about that.
Say it.
Howard, you argue so vehemently. Let them just.
He wants to say that didn't happen, but he's afraid to say that.
Is that not, but what are you talking about?
It was the fact that I can walk down the street. I know John maybe he's not as like famous as you, but John will go walk down the street. People will say hello to John and get on him. And John, and same thing with Gary.
Does John have anything to do all day? John is thrilled if somebody recognizes him. I'm not at that point in my life. I got to get from one place to another. I can't stop every 30 seconds and start a conversation with someone. If I have a mission to get to a movie theater on time, I'm not going to sit there and stop and sign autographs.
But that's the thing. Nobody asked for an autograph.
They couldn't. I was moving fast, you moron. You're so stupid. Why do you think I'm moving fast? I've learned how to be me. I gotta be me. So why am I defending myself here? You know what you are? You're a big putz. You're never gonna even be anything. Get out of here.
Yeah, thanks for the confidence.
Yeah, you're dumb. Get out of here, you stupid idiot. Shut up and sit down.
Now, and all the times I ever yelled at an intern and said those things.
Well, he's dopey.
No, not those things.
Worse.
I have a list of other things you've said.
I can't believe we have an intern that called Robin normal.
Listen, I'm telling you, he's so afraid of her, he can't even tell her the truth.
Listen to this. Yep. Nobody's afraid of me.
Listen, never mind this conversation. We have big news to announce.
Oh, that's right.
What is it, Stutter?
I tell you, I mean, Grillo once came in so upset when Robin yelled at him. It was unbelievable.
What was this about?
He threw away papers that he always throws away every day, and one day Robin wanted them, and she yelled at him, and Grillo was so upset the whole day.
Yeah, that's normal.
I think
it is normal. I was working and I needed something really fast, so I had to get.
So I always say to Robin, hey, the kid's an intern, he works for free. All right, so he screwed up. Yeah, all right, so you get it back.
Please, excuse me.
I am Mr. Rational.
Here it
yes,
comes.
right.
Here we
go.
I hear this from you and Gary all the time. Meanwhile, Gary's screaming his butt off out there.
I do not scream at the guys.
Ask them what they tell me. So you got a list on me, I got a list on you.
No. Sometimes I get upset, and sometimes I tell them that what they do is wrong. But
and
I don't
scream.
go screaming like a loon.
Yes, you do.
no one. You've screamed, but you know.
See there?
Gary screamed at Jackie once in a limo in L.A. because Jackie thought that about Angel.
There is an appropriate way to scream. You see, Robin, this is where your weirdness comes in. There's an appropriate way to scream.
Oh, Gary knows the appropriate way to scream.
There's
and
an appropriate time. Yes, that's correct. That's your weirdness.
If I get angry,
otherwise, you'd be normal. If you could learn.
To both of them.
You can't handle it. Can't handle the criticism.
There is no such thing.
I have handled much criticism this morning, and yet you don't want to hear it. You're blocking out my criticism.
I hear you.
All right,
but I say screaming is screaming.
No, you've got to learn the appropriate way. You got to understand that the kid's an intern, he works for free, and it's got to be appropriately done.
And if I get mad, Robert, hold on. If I get angry,
kids know that they can talk to me.
Oh, that's not true.
They're lying.
If I've ever gotten angry at any of these guys and I felt that I've said something wrong, I've usually come to them and I said, listen, I'm sorry that I went off on you.
They come to me about you.
Yeah, please.
All right.
You got it wrong. Take them to somebody about somebody.
I am the most normal on the show.
You didn't even mention how Gary.
Let me tell you something, Robin. It's easier to approach the Wizard of Oz than you.
Well, I don't want to be approached.
There you go. Yes?
You didn't mention that. We used to play a game on Gary. When he would leave his desk, we would just tilt his stapler back.
All right. Very
2
good.
degrees.
All right. You know what? I'm bored with you, and I'm bored with this discussion.
I can't get my
We've
list.
heard everybody's. You have a list?
Yes.
All right. I got to take a break first. We'll be back right after this, and then I must make our big announcement. Yeah. Yeah, he was walking real quickly.
I can talk to the trees, and then I can rehearse with the tree when I'm going to play to Howard.
Can you imagine this guy? What a stiff. 5th Avenue in Westbury, New York, Wayne Woodbridge, and Paramus, New Jersey. Heads are going to roll after this show. She's lucky I have a meeting. What is it?
I just want to give my list very quickly.
All right.
Okay.
All I know is Baba Booey was talking to me during the commercials. I couldn't even pay attention to what he was saying.
Really?
He drones on. I don't know. He's got
I was trying to tell you
stories.
about the faxes. I was telling you a story about Jackie, but it's unimportant.
It was boring.
Okay. It's a first-place tie between Robin and Fred. I'll tell you why. Fred is because of my fear of the unknown.
Right.
There's a lot of things about him that I don't know. And Robin has definitely improved substantially.
But I know you find Robin the weirdest on the show.
In fact, she's improved even the way she treats me. But I still see the way you treat other people.
Oh, go away.
Like
Stop
that guy,
observing me so closely.
like Frank Gannon and others.
Just
stuff like that.
stop observing me so closely.
By the way, based on my private conversations with Gary, I knew that you and Fred would tie for the strange people on the show.
I said right away I would fare well with
And I can guess that Gary will say that Jackie is the most normal, but because they can go out and they can drink and stuff.
Yeah.
But if Gary really analyzed it, I am the most rational and normal person on the show.
Well, I put you next on the list because I think that you are very easy to communicate with when we're not here and we talk on the phone. You actually are a pretty normal and easy guy to communicate with.
But you don't think I'm normal because I stay at home and things like that. That's absurd.
I do think that's a little odd.
Well, let me tell you something. It's my pleasure.
It's your pleasure.
That's right.
And the other thing, I think Jackie and John are sort of tied for the
You just gave a list of things here off the air that Jackie does to his wife,
about his management, about his,
Right, but that's still-
about what he did to his own mother.
But that's still...
What was the story on his own mother?
Well, he was partying with his mother.
He parties with his mother in the car drunk.
Right, buying her a bottle of rye. He gets the beer.
Is that true, Jackie? I've never even heard that.
That's the same story where he threw the urine out the window.
Prelude.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his mom was in the back with a bottle of rye.
And you're saying he's more normal than I am?
Yes, barely.
All right.
But I want to say one thing about Jackie's cheapness. Jackie is not cheap to people. Like, in other words, Jackie has not only treated us to lunch, I know you've covered that Friars Club thing, but he's had us over his house for dinner and taken myself and my wife out for dinner many times.
Right.
Jackie's weirdness with the cheap thing is he still has the poor man's mentality. He cannot bear to see anything that comes into this office be thrown in the garbage.
Right. He's like my father-in-law.
And Jackie lugs home stuff that he could easily afford to buy or wouldn't want.
Right. And so it's more of a hassle to lug it home.
How is that being cheap?
It's a poor man's mentality. My father-in-law has the same curse.
Let me tell you something.
No matter what he's
all
offered,
those
he takes
T-shirts I take
like
home,
a pack rat, you store them in your house.
Most of them get thrown in the Goodwill bin or given. Like the other day, I gave.
the Goodwill.
No, the other day I gave them to my nieces. No, the other day I gave them to my nieces and nephews.
Why don't you buy your niece something nice that doesn't say Heineken all over it?
Hold on.
You know what I mean?
You think that all that stuff should just go in the garbage?
Yeah.
You think that's a wrong thing that I do by bringing them home?
I think we get a lot of tacky T-shirts in the mail.
And they should go in the garbage instead of being taken home.
I just think at some point you sort of look at that stuff and go, you know what? It's a real pain in the ass to bring home.
I don't give them to people instead of giving them gifts.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, okay,
No, but I've seen you take a $5 bottle of champagne that you could, or a $2 bottle.
You don't even want to drink because it's swill, and you'll still take it home and drink it because you can't bear to see it passed up. But anyway, listen, I got other things to get to. I got big announcements to make.
The real CEO has made a list.
Oh, no. Who is this?
Oh, somebody we can't mention?
Very good.
Head muckety muck.
Most normal. He's lying, though. This
Let
is
me see. What is on that list?
All right, this is from our big boss.
All right.
Big community. All right. Most normal is... this is from the guy who owns the company.
Yeah, well, come on and get
I'm going
to
to mention his name. It's all right. It's Mel, okay?
Okay.
All right. He says, what do you want me to start with, most normal or most abnormal?
Most normal.
Let me start with most abnormal.
Oh, here we go.
He claims the most abnormal is Howard.
Good.
Which is, I wish he would break down one time and come in here and explain that to me. I really would like to hear that.
Well, he once told me that you and I were both difficult, but I don't know what he
But I think he was saying that from a negotiating standpoint.
No, he was saying that from a working with standpoint.
Yeah, he did. I remember that conversation.
That's a lie.
He said you were difficult to deal with when it came to
He
work.
has said to me, I'm one of the easiest people to work with, and then I'll cut off the air and I'll say it's true. I didn't want to say it'll ruin your on-air image.
Well, I'm just telling you, we were sitting in an office, and he said, he was talking to me about something. He said, exclude you and Howard because you're both difficult and you don't realize.
I remember the conversation.
He says Howard is the most abnormal, Robin is next.
Thank you.
Fred is after that. Gary, and then Jackie is the most normal.
Really?
And I know he doesn't think that. I think he thinks Jackie's the... I think it's just the opposite. Everything here is just the opposite.
You read the list upside down.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. X.
Mr. X.